What's up, and welcome to Chapter 2, the complete review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's A New Journey Begins chapter. I'm really excited to jump into this one with my panelists here, and we're going to get this started a little differently because with Chapter 2 comes rankings. That's right. I've had each of my panelists send me their personal rankings, and what we're going to do is going to combine those scores in order to find our official rankings. Now, I'm going to make this real quick. I'll make it real quick. If it ranks at number 1, it gets 20 points. At number 2, 17 points. At number 3, 15 points. And then at number 4, 13 points. And then from there on down, it's minus 1 point each. So it kind of gives a little bit of a weight to our top 3. All right, so if you put a chapter in your top 3, it gets that bonus 2 points. All right, and that's gonna help it out in our official rankings to make sure chapters that we really feel strongly about gets a little bit of an edge. So to find out, I'm going to start off with revealing how we ranked to the panelists right now. And this is going to be new to them. This is going to be a surprise, as you guys have all sent them privately to me. And this will be how it goes for the future of this series, where I'm just going to reveal the official ranking, and we'll, from there, reveal how we got there by talking to each panelist on their personal ranking list. So let's get right into it. Here it is. At number 1, we rank this chapter, A New Journey Begins, Chapter 2. And number 2, we rank the previous chapter of number 1, Fall of a Hero. So Chapter 2, Chapter 1. Let's see how we got there. We're going to go over slowly to the Dragoon King. Now, you ranked A New Journey Begins at number 1, and then Fall of a Hero. So, Dragoon King Liam, can you explain a little bit how you got there?
All right. Well, just to start off by saying, both chapters are great. They kind of are great for different reasons, though. The first chapter is a very linear chapter, and there's a lot of great, iconic moments that they go over, and we're seeing from, a new lens where we're changing things up and we're checking things out, and we're also appreciating from the original standpoint, seeing how they're interpreting it in a modern way. But that being said, the second chapter, I think, really is where the game starts, so to speak. I think it sets forth what we're expecting from the game. I think it really, puts forth like, hey, this isn't going to be like Remake at all. We're getting an open experience. We're experimenting with all this cool things. We're mini games. We're going to do intel. We're going to do side quest. Side quests existed in Remake, but it's a little different here because now with the new relationship mechanic, it's impactful in a way that it wasn't before. So I think that this chapter, while, the other one has a lot more of the iconic moments we come to expect, I think this chapter is really setting the foot forward for what to expect. It's the, as Aerith says, I believe it's, the first step in the journey. And I think that's the perfect way to look at that chapter. So to me, it just personally ranked higher.
Love that. And now we'll go over to Dr. Lockhart. You ranked A New Journey Begins at number 1, Fall of a Hero at number 2. Can you explain a little bit?
In short, it mostly comes down to the recapturing and enhancing of that glorious feeling of the world opening up. I know some people sometimes speak of, the Midgar sequence in the original with less fondness. I love it. I think it's great. But there is nonetheless an ineluctable beauty that comes from when you enter that open world and you're exploring it, and there's so much more to do, and you feel the richness and the wealth, and in particular, if I may add, the main theme is perfect. It's beautiful. OG as well as this. It inspires you that you've got the oppressive elements of the music. You've got the curious daybreak music of elements of the music. It all comes together to say, this is the journey. They recaptured that love of, oh my God, it's bigger than I ever thought it was before this point, and that's worth everything. As a minor subpoint, this chapter did not have a bunch of villagers standing around idly while Sephiroth massacred them for no inexplicable reason.
That's a good point.
Very true.
Great point.
It helps.
That's a good point.
Now, we go over to Excalibro. And of course, you did the same thing. A new journey begins at number 1, Fall of a Hero at number 2.
Yeah, so I mean, I could echo everything that they just said, but I mean, so the first chapter is a prologue, right? It's a prologue. That's exactly what it is. And the prologue is never what you came for. It's just what's necessary to get where you're going. And chapter 2 lets you start getting where you're going. And that's what I loved about it. I mean, I couldn't wait to be released into the world. You know, everything that DK and Doc Locke said. Oh, we didn't introduce DK as DK, did we?
I said the Dragoon King. I said Dragoon King, but I didn't say DK.
Yeah. So
King, DK, whatever. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what Rob said. It's that feeling when you play the OG, the first time you leave Midgar, the world is your oyster, and your boy got the small fork ready. Like, I wanted all of it. I wanted all of it.
Nice.
And, you know, that...
I'm picturing Queena right now, for the record, with like the fork. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's only 2 things in life.
I got a frog in my throat.
Things you can eat, things
There's
you
a little Queena joke. But yeah, no, I mean, chapter 2 is just everything I was waiting for. And man, it hit on so many levels. But like just the first, not even the first 20, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing. We're going to get to that. We'll
Yes,
get to that.
Of
but
course. Yeah. We're going to get into this kind of chapter recap breakdown of it, and can't wait to talk to you guys more about that. That kind of leaves me as the last one here to round this out. Now, it doesn't matter where I placed it, because with you guys, with 3 against 1, that would, of course, put that at number 1. But I'm with you guys. This is number 1 for me as well. A New Journey Begins at number 1 and Fall of a Hero at number 2. For me, I kind of echo a lot of what the guys have said already, where this feels like Liam said, this feels like the true beginning of this game, and like sets up what this game is going to be about, at least gameplay wise. Whereas chapter 1 did an excellent job, I think, of setting up like this game is going to be kind of a mind trip. We're introducing different worlds. We're introducing Zack as alive. We're introducing, this crazy hectic thing. And I can't wait to talk about this a little bit more, how this flows really well into chapter 2. Like chapter 1 flows into chapter 2, to evoke the same sensations that we got from the original game. So anyways, chapter 2, the moment that I saw Calm, in one of the state of plays or something like that, it blew my mind. The moment that I got to actually on sticks walk around through the town of Calm, I enjoyed it so much. I think they did a great job of recreating Calm and then introducing Queen's Blood, which I honestly wasn't going to be, like, I don't know if I was going to be into it as much as I got into it, right? Like, I was like, all right, I like Triple Triad, that's cool, but it never was the main thing of Final Fantasy VIII for me. I was like, it's a card game, whatever. Dude, Queen's Blood consumed me. I freaking love that. And then Chapter 2 introduces that. And we even get a side quest with Queen's Blood as one of the side quests. And anyways, it showed me that even the side quests of this chapter are going to support the world building and the storytelling. And it's just going to be so much bigger than I had ever imagined, because guess what? It's Calm. And I'm spending hours at Calm, when usually that's only supposed to be like a screen or two, right? Like that's not supposed to be that long. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I really enjoyed this, and we're gonna dive into it in our chapter breakdown. So let's get right into that. But first, before we do, I do want to shout out the fan vote. So let me go over to the fan vote now. And the fans disagreed with us. Put Fall of a
Really?
Hero at number 1 and A Journey Begins at number 2. This was we had a few people vote. I think it was 13-8 or 13-9. Of course, this only being 2 options, 2 selections, it was 50-50 no matter. Like you either one was going to win. But once we throw in chapter 3, that's when things are going to get a little bit more interesting and the fan vote is going to start to matter even more. So what we're going to do with the fan vote is I do want to give you guys a shout out. And just like, hey, here's how the fans voted in opposition to the panelists here, but the official ranking is ours. Now, when we have our official yeah, it's ours. This is what we're going with. This is what we're
Ruddy Philistines.
I'm the king, damn it, it's mine.
The Dragoon King has spoken. So if there was in the event of a tie, so like let's just say 2 of us voted chapter 2 at number 1 and then 2 of us voted chapter 1 at number 1, we would have had a tie. And guess what? It would have been the fans who voted to break that tie. So you guys get to be the tiebreakers in those instances when there's a tie. So with that being said, there's the point values that I had listed before, and you can kind of take a look. But let's get right into it, guys. So once again, shout out to Gamers Prey on YouTube, who has like gameplay videos of everything, every chapter, and I'm going to fix that scene before we get started on that one. But we'll be showing footage from Gamerspray. So please go give them a subscription and stuff like that. Equip that subscription. Now, before I do get started, I do want to read off Centurion representing the fan vote here. Chapter 1 is the greatest demo I've ever played, the best interpretation of the Nibelheim incident, and the song Toward Mount Nibel was one heck of a song for the opening credits. I agree on so many of those counts. So thank you for representing the fandom on that one. Let's get right into it, y'all. Chapter 1 begins with Cloud waking up in the Calm Inn. Now, we get a glimpse of Calm before we see Cloud. No music, just birds chirping. It is indeed calm.
Don't say. I was about to say. Don't say.
Evoking the same
It was
feelings.
brewing.
Yeah, it was. Come on, man. Come on, man. I have
Do you
a
want
saw
some
it in your
cheese to go
throat.
with that low-hanging fruit?
I had nope. Not gonna say that. Not gonna say I had that in my throat. Nope. So you almost had me there, Lee.
Moving on.
Moving on. There's a calm atmosphere, evoking the same feelings that we had back in the original game after the high-octane escape from Midgar. Calm was always meant to be this polar opposite of the loud, industrial, dark, trashy Midgar, right? So for Rebirth, we were given the industrial Midgar with the Zack playable opening, and then the intensity of Sephiroth's spiral into madness, or should I say, elevator ride down into madness.
Way more dramatic to think that he was just standing there in the elevator, humming, waiting patiently.
Like, I can't wait to find out about my origins.
Much more
I
ominous.
can't wait to find out about it.
I don't know how you could put chapter 1 over 2. They didn't put elevator music. Like
No.
that would have really
That's
closed
funny.
the scene together. Would have made it
and
one
like,
for me,
as,
but whatever.
As they get to the next floor, you can have da 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 da. da. Sorry.
Right.
Then we had the
Continue.
fires of Nibelheim with lots of death, right? So, I think Rebirth does a fantastic job of kind of, all right, how do we take a part 2 in a trilogy that's literally just one game that we're remaking here? We got to evoke that same feeling of calm. That, you know, we got to like bring that back to them because it's been 2.5 years, 3 years, or whatever since 4 years, I think, right? Wasn't no. Yeah, 4 years
Was it
since
5?
Yeah.
since it, whatever. But it's been a long time since they played this game, so we want to bring that back, bring that feeling back. You can't just jump right into calm. At least that's what I got out of it. So now, Richard Stolz, man, longtime Final Fan supporter of Final Fan TV over on Patreon. Really appreciate you so much, man, over there. Thank you. Ask the question. Was the design and layout of Calm how you pictured it after playing Remake? I'll throw this over to the panelists. Anybody want to jump on that one?
Wiley, you should go first. I feel like it always ends up being me going first. You go first, Wiley.
I thought in a lot of ways it did feel like the original. I mean, the main thing for me, right, is the Mako tank right in the center of Calm. Like, that looked perfect. It was awesome. Immediately catches your eye, you know. I think that the sort of moat system that they had through there, you know, you could swim in the little canals or whatever you want to call it. That definitely caught me off guard. I loved it. I mean, it was all good, but it definitely felt like sort of a new exploration of an old idea. It felt much bigger. I'll say it impressed me more than I thought it would. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like that, you know, all out right out of the gate. I mean, everything about it was impressive. I mean, they've got people dancing. They've got a little cactuar right there. They've got shops. They've got so many different things. And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what I expected, but it surpassed my expectations. That's for sure.
And HP Plus adds to this question. Did the scale and personality of Calm meet or surpass expectations? Doc Locke.
I personally would say it, I guess, expectations meaning what I hoped for, or meaning what did I realistically think?
Let's do both.
I mean, okay, so I am extremely pro remake. I think remake is exceptionally well done, and I will passionately defend a lot of the things that people complain about it. And that gave me a lot of confidence that Rebirth was going to be great. And there is so much in remake that made me say they really care about getting a lot of things right. They want to go in some different directions, but that is shown here as well. I mean, everything in remake led me to believe they're going to nail this. I can feel the love, the little details that they try to preserve, and they do. And I would say they do a great job of, yeah, there's calm, yeah, there's beautiful music, yes, there's detail, but it's not just that. What they really excelled in my opinion, is they gave even more flavor in terms of the atmosphere and the artistic license, that it's got everything of the feel of the original and more. It is enhanced in every way. The whole wall culture thing going over and over. I think all of us maybe are a little too sick of hearing about Baron von Kylegate at this point, let's just say. But like, you know, they're really tapping
I
into
love
that
he's
lore.
there.
Yeah.
As well as, I mean, I think it's really cool that, for example, the dialogue does not 100% say this, but strongly implies that Before Crisis is canon. They refer to events in Before Crisis that affected Calm. So, per usual, they went out of their way to include all elements of canon that could be put in here reasonably. And that just inspires that, yeah, even if there are times when I may disagree with the artistic direction, there is no time that you can say that they don't feel the love and they know the source material and they're trying to infuse that in every way where they can, consistent with their artistic direction.
So my award, and I'm giving out an award right now. My award for Best Rebirth. That's right, we changed it. We shortened it up, or I did. I'm sorry, to against the will of my panelists. I don't know if they really fully agreed to this, but I changed it.
I'm just here for the ride. You invited me.
Best Rebirth represents the best thing from the original game that was remade for Rebirth. So I just figured Best Rebirth works. And then for Best New Addition to the game, that's Best Birth. Best Birth, that's right, guys.
Best birth.
I feel like that one, Rebirth is clever. I don't know about the Best Birth thing.
Best Birth, though.
That one I'm a little subject to change, perhaps. We'll work out the kinks by episode 14.
So my award for Best Rebirth is not a story moment. But rather the remake of the Town of Calm. So my expectations were exceeded. I have my reaction actually on video for that one as well. Cleverly titled on the thumbnail. God, that one, I think that one, can't remember who's, I think it was Block Sheep gave me the suggestion for it. So if you've seen the thumbnail, You've seen that one. Anyways, so I think you can like clearly see my joy, right? When I saw Calm for the first time, I was like, "Oh my god, they freaking did it," right? So being hands-on, like I said, walking through Calm, you know, coupled with that like incredible theme of On Our Way, A Sense of Calm. I mean, award for best music. Right there. That's 2 awards.
Wow, you're just dropping
right
them all at once.
I just did 2 awards right there.
I didn't even say if it met my expectations. This guy dropped 2 awards already.
Right. I think it did. I think it
Damn,
did.
That's
HP+.
crazy.
I think it exceeded my expectations.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So best music for me, on our way, A Sense of a Calm, and then it just I do want to kind of like say this real quick, where to support that, where I spent probably as many hours as it takes to get out of Midgar in the original game, I spent in Calm.
Wow.
So,
Just wandering.
think about that. You know, playing Queen's Blood, wandering around. Yeah, so.
I just want to say, well, I'll cut to the point. I agree. It blew all my expectations out of the water. And I want to point out something, and you know, I know I mentioned this briefly last video, but it's way more relevant now. Part of the reason I'm even on this panel is because I was a part of a fan animation project for Chase Summers Animation. I'm plugging him again since he did the Project Calm video.
Yeah.
And you know, that's actually, it's funny because going into this, I was excited not just because I'm experiencing Calm for the first time being remade alongside you guys, but like personally, I attribute that video as like a really cool push into this fandom, at least, you know, so Calm in a way is a very personal town to me now. It wasn't when I played the original game, like, oh, this place is cool. Yeah. But then because of Project Calm, it actually changed my whole like appreciation and perspective of the town. And after this podcast, if you guys haven't seen that video, I do recommend going and checking it out. Mm-hmm. And then check out Floor 67 because Dan's in that one. But in Project Calm, don't worry, I got you, bro. But no, in Project Calm, you'll see remake assets like the characters, but it's cool because Chase's interpretation of that was very close to the original. It's very quiet, it's calm, and it looks like the original, but like more modernized. So seeing how the actual, you know, creators of the game wanted to take this, and the developers took this in a totally different but refreshing and still homely and recognizable feeling, kind of blew me away. Because, you know, Calm, again, I'll be straight up, it's sort of just the first of many stops.
Yeah. But
to me, it's not one of those ones that before Project Calm, it wasn't one of those things to me where it had that impact. Like it was just there. Mm-hmm. But Calm now, it's a beautiful start to the game. It's phenomenal. You're seeing it. We see a lively Midgar, and we see a lively Undercity in Remake. And now this is our first introduction to how lively the world outside of Midgar is. And we're only going to see this grow and continue. But seeing all these beautiful, you know, cities and cultures and how different they are. Like, Calm's a very lively place. Calm has a lot to offer in ways of music and art, clearly, and tourism. There's so much going on, and it's really cool to see. And I was just blown away by this fantastic new interpretation of what before, I'm not going to say it was bad, but was just sort of one of the, oh, that's great. What is that?
Yeah, we're getting an ad.
I'm curious.
What was before just sort of, I don't want to say unremarkable, but now you totally screwed me up. Thanks, Dan. I had a good thing going. I was cooking. But no, like, I just wanted to say that Calm before felt kind of just I don't want to say unremarkable because that sounds harsh, but it was just
fair.
It kind of was like an unremarkable little town, but now it's so much more beautiful and lively, and it's phenomenal how they took just one aspect of the world and gave it this much love and attention, and it really sets a precedent of what we're gonna see going forward. And
so I'm curious because you brought up the Calm fan production.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody, not everybody, a very popular opinion in the zeitgeist was, oh, Yuffie will steal your equipment, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be the intro. Obviously, that did not occur. Were you gentlemen surprised by that or unsurprised by them not taking that direction?
I think once it started, I was like, yeah, this feels right. Like, this is right.
I mean, I'm personally okay with, we don't need to explain why we're at a lower level. We don't need to explain why my equipment's bad. Like, I just accept it personally. It's an aspect of game design. But I would also understand if they were like, oh yeah, we're going to explain this, Yuffie, blah, blah, blah. Like, going into this, were you expecting that would have been the case? Or, maybe not.
So it's
we're
like...
having a stand-up.
Yeah, no. No, I would say I would say it felt right once you got the game in play. Like, it was weird because leading up to that, like I said, 4 years in between, people need something to talk about. I need something to talk about. So I think you just kind of blow these things out of proportions, like you're talking about the placement of the sun in the sky. Doesn't matter.
No, that was exactly the right proportions. Don't you ever criticize it. That video is awesome, and I will die on that hill.
But the sun is setting behind
that is
him, and it's
exactly
beautiful.
Perfect.
Who cares if it's in the
That
east?
is fandom. You are awesome for that video.
I
No
appreciate
self-deprecation.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you know what? Yeah, maybe they should have run it back. All right, they have to explain it. No, no, I think once
I want an official apology.
Yeah, give me an apology.
Square Enix directly to you.
No, I think once I started playing the game, I was like, yeah, it was fine. Like, I don't think I needed too much of an explanation of why my materia is the way it is and why blah blah blah. And my level is not 50 like it was at Remake. I think everything kind of just was like, oh, this is fine. I think all of our
calm.
Exactly.
I also think throwing Yuffie in that early to just steal the material would have felt a little, I don't want to say clumsy or like reckless, but just, like we just got a little, taste of her character and whatnot, and then to just throw her in like immediately with the crowd, it feels like it wouldn't have worked, and at least to me. So I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
Because it'd be like Ketchi staring at the fall of Sector 7.
So,
it's just like that.
I have such an amazing theory that I have scripted out, so I'll reserve that for then. But yeah, I have a better opportunity there.
Like the script that you were holding on to during the last stream, and then you just dropped it.
I actually recorded that whole script, and I said, "Who cares about this?" I recorded the whole thing. I was in the middle of editing it, and I was like, who cares?
Yeah, instead we got you recreate. You guys should watch the little in-betweener podcast that we did where we broke the camera, by the way. That was very fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
And you get
Ooh, shout out to Richard Stolz. Again, we answered your question earlier about the design and layout of Calm, but thank you so much once again with the super chat. Richard Stolz, man, I gotta get you on the show someday. Unfortunately, I have to watch this later and get to my hockey game, but good night, boys. I played floor hockey, and I'm going to do this really, really brief for you guys, okay? This is because we have a long conversation to talk about, but I have to throw this out there because Richard Stolz said he played hockey game. Let me tell you guys, I've been picked last before for a team. Okay, I've been picked last, and it motivates me. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to go out there and show you why you picked me last, but I'm the best player on the team. All right. There was a mutiny in my team in the offseason where half the team broke away and formed their new team, leaving the team that I was on with not enough players. Okay? I'm upset that I wasn't recruited to the mutiny. Like, why wasn't I recruited to be part of this mutiny and joining this new team?
Your character is just so high, they didn't think that you could possibly be a mutineer. It's a statement of your honor.
Yep.
Doc Locke, let me tell you, when the text message that I got back from the team captain that is now not a team captain anymore because his team doesn't exist. He was like, yeah, they said that they didn't want to take all the talent. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Stop. Anyways, Richard, enjoy your hockey game. I wish I could be there.
Thanks for the little trauma dump.
Anyways, enjoy your game, man.
Good luck, Richard.
Thanks for the support, dude. I really appreciate you. All right, so we go on. Cloud wakes up. He finds Queen's Blood on his door, which is introducing you to the new card game that's going to be in there, of course. We go down and we meet a new guy. His name is Broden. That's kind of cool because Broden is actually really cool. Cool addition to this to FF7R. We get a little bit of a, we get a little quick introduction to him. But man, he has a great side quest coming up. So we'll talk about that in just a few. He's telling you get your armor and all that stuff, equipment fixed and blah, blah, blah. Red 13 meets you outside the door. Stop me if you guys have anything you want to say.
Real quick.
Yes.
I have a feeling the rest of you want to jump to Broden for a second, but I just want to say, not that we discussed earlier in the Discord chat that the hype award is a you thing, but we could contribute. I actually have written on my notes that was hype. That Red 13, just the banner when it popped up that Red 13 joins the party, I was hyped. To me, I was like, hell yeah, because we dealt with it for quite a while. He was a homie in the last game for what? How many chapters is he with you? Like at least 2?
17.
2.
Yeah, 2. So, and to finally have him, and it's right at the start of the game, and it's just one of those like cool moments that to me I was like, oh hell yeah, we're starting it off right with my boy.
That's a good hype mode. I like that. I liked it because it also evoked that same classic Final Fantasy, and this game does that quite a bit. That classic Final Fantasy feel where it's like join the party or some so and so. Yeah, I like that.
Minor thing, just this amused me. I'm gonna point out that on the table for the room when Cloud wakes up, there are 3 wine bottles out and 5 glasses. Now, I'm sure Barrett can take maybe a little bit more than the average guy, but 3 wine bottles for those 5 people, they had a fair amount there on the apparently the night before. I don't blame them. Horrific night to get through, but I'm just gonna point that out there.
I just want to point out to your point. Barrett says in this chapter, the first thing that when you go to talk to him during this,
that he doesn't drink.
He's not drinking until Tifa opens the next bar, so he had nothing to do with that.
There were 5
glasses. He's a liar.
There were 5 glasses out, so maybe
so either he's a liar.
I'm saying maybe his resolution began the next day.
Maybe.
No more.
I mean, you gotta think Red is probably lapping out of a bowl, right? Like, what's going on?
He had a glass. I mean,
does Red drink white?
5 glasses in the room.
This Red drink white. Nice.
On a more serious note, I don't think that this is a knowable question because for obvious reasons, but I kind of wondered anyway, how much time has transpired since, they exited the Singularity? I don't think we can know because at some point in time, Chocobo Bill came and picked him up at the end of Intergrade, but just something I kind of wondered, like, if you guys had a strong sense of how much time has elapsed.
Sorry, world map guy here. Thank you very much. My name is Daniel. I'd like to talk about this.
Based on the position of the East Sun, we can determine. We can determine that it's at least 3 feet. The sun's at least 3 feet. Continue dance.
Based on Copernicus' equation.
I feel like such a nerd that I can answer this question. All right, y'all. Listen, I made a video about this. Where I was talking about how the world map of Final Fantasy VII Part 2 would not be completely one-to-one open world, because I was talking about the signs that were on the road maps of how Calm was 50 miles away from Midgar, and I'm like, they were 50 miles and they're walking? Come on. And I was like talking about that, and then a drive, whatever, boom, boom, boom. So they got a hitchhike, but I didn't know that at the time of the video. I thought they were just walking. Something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time since I made that video. Anyways, 50 miles to Calm. I'm going to go ahead and say that they exit Midgar the morning of leaving the Singularity, because it was nighttime when they entered it, and seems like it was the dawn of a new day, right? Like it's just like in Midgar, at the original, it's a dawn, it's a brand new start. So that morning, they make their way over to Calm, and I think it takes a whole day to get there. They go to sleep that night, they tell the story, and then they wake up, and there's Red 13. So, and he's like, a long day yesterday. And I feel like that might have just been, hey, long day driving, right? Long day walking, or just last night, or the other night in general, going through the singularity. So I feel like this was a very recent thing that happened. But anyways, we're getting into these details, I guess. Go ahead.
I'm gonna add a piece of evidence to that, which is the point that I was gonna make anyway before we move on, and that is when you go downstairs at the inn, on the radio is the same exact broadcast from Zach's universe. So this just happened, right? They're talking about the weather warfare, which is, Shinra spinning the news. There's your tornado, There's a little pun for everybody who missed that. But
I swear to God, I go 1 second away to just adjust the video, and then I'm like, oh, there was a pun there, and then my brain is replaying it. I'm like, spinning the narrative. That's good. That's good.
But no, so it's very interesting, right? Because how is it exactly the same? It's exactly the same.
So, well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of things are the same, right? Like the idea that, that wouldn't surprise me necessarily. But I think one thing that I find interesting is I think everything that everybody has said is 100% logical. And the following statement is not incongruent with what's being said. But my understanding from OG / Crisis Core is that Cloud walks through the wasteland for, I believe it's between like 1 and 2 weeks. I don't remember the exact number. Perhaps someone can look it up. That kind of a scale of time would make me think maybe more than a day. I mean, I don't think it's knowable, because at the end of the day you can always say, well, they got in the car and they drove, dummy. Which, okay, that answers all questions. But just, I know that fact from OG kind of made me think that seems like a bigger thing. Again, things can change, not a big deal if they do change it. But
and Lone Star builds on my video that I had. I had mentioned this in the video too, but they mentioned how it was a day's walk, like where Barrett was like, or somebody said, how long do you walk? And he was like, a day's walk, give or take, or something like that. But they got picked up and arrived, and still in the same day, or whatever. Boom, boom. To Excalibur's point about the same broadcast, that did cut off at a very important part where there's still a soldier at large. They didn't have that, right? That's not part of the Calm radio broadcast. So none of that was there. Jelly-sen says a bleed through from the worlds. I imagine that the whispers just move in all worlds at one time, just like Sephiroth, Bizarro Sephiroth at the end of the game does, where they're in all the worlds at one time. I feel like maybe
that assumes the whispers are still with us.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, man. Yeah. Hold on a second, bro.
Dude, that's me. I'm sorry, Dad. That is me when the whispers are being talked about. Yeah.
But anyways, when the big tornado was encircling Midgar, it was encircling Midgar in Zack's world, in Cloud's world. There was so much. There was tornadoes in there. Anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and say bleed through in world sounds great. And then maybe they are spinning the narrative. Maybe they are blaming it on the weather warfare, whatever. But that's a great topic for another time.
I thought we got away from the whispers this chapter.
Dude, you hit me when you said that means the whispers are still.
There's no escape.
I'm getting another cloud headache.
I still need a return of Pug Cloud, for the record. I still need a return of him.
Wispake.
The Pug Cloud, yes.
Yes.
Bearded Cloud from the Pug timeline. It's coming back. Nobody, you got to be a Final fan to know that. You know what I mean? You got to watch that. You got to watch that hype stream, the hype cast. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving forward, right? Am I cutting somebody off? I think we're good. Okay. So,
I do have a question real quick.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with what we talked about before, but actually, how are we approaching maybe we should have talked about this pre-stream, but I got here a little late. How are we approaching the topic of side content, because obviously I know that the gameplay video we're following however they're playing. Yeah. They're not going to go and listen to this NPC. Yeah. They're not going to go. So how are we to approach that.
So we're gonna do
conversation.
all side content at the end. So we're gonna go through main storyline. We're just MSQ this right to the end, and then we're gonna go back and be like, oh, you know what? I want to.
So like we could jump back to calm base. So like I wasn't sure if we were having calm discussion now, and then when the gate opens, we're just leaving calm behind.
I feel like we've had a fairly calm discussion. I mean, it's gotten pretty loud, but I mean, other than that, I think we've had a good conversation. Anyways, all right, y'all. We're gonna
I hear one more of these. I'm about to make a calm exit.
Oh, dear God.
Yes, we're talking MSQ all the way through.
Okay, so
and
we're
then
going MSQ, and then we
we'll
can
go
jump
back to
back.
side quests.
All
Yeah,
right,
we'll
so
go back
because I had some like things that I don't think need to be addressed right now. Mostly just like cool NPC dialogue, stuff like that. But if we can move,
Oh yeah, I do want to shout out the NPC chatter as because I feel like Calm did an excellent job of like building this lore. Like there's so much lore and history here.
It touched on a lot of lore from different. Like what's cool is I like to think because I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that I'm a newer fan. Now I have indulged in a lot of the extended media, but I do think that there's some, like obviously, like I played the original first, then all the other subsequent games, Dirge, and read the books On the Way to Smile, all that. I think that there is something valuable to a piece of media being contained, where you don't need to obviously like. And I know I'm saying that at the wrong place because this is a panel full of people.
No, because I'm with you.
And that's why I actually love the original, because this is gonna sound a little weird, but like anytime I go back to it, sometimes I don't know if you guys are able to do this. I almost turn off every other piece of media that came after it, and sometimes I want to appreciate it for how it was. Yes. And what is interesting about this is that this game in general, but like even just walking around Calm, it's a very rewarding experience to those who indulged in other media. We mentioned Kylegate, who I immediately think of him in On the Way to a Smile and kidnapping Rufus. That's where because that was the first piece of media that I indulged in after, well, technically third, because I went the original Advent Children, then I read On the Way to a Smile. So it was the third, and that's my introduction.
And who is Kylegate, Liam?
I am Baron von Sorry, just
I was gonna say, Rob, you seemed you mentioned it before I did, so actually you want to indulge us in all the Kylegate lore, because I think it would be cool.
No, I mean I was saying that more in a joking way of just God, that actor practicing his lines was
which
painful,
is, dude,
in a great way.
But
in
it's
a
also
great
so
way.
great because and obviously we have to contain it to chapter 2, but like we can come back to Calm later on and they all say something different. They say something different throughout. And like this guy who's rehearsing his line as Baron von Kylegate and all this, you come back to him and they drop the actual name of the guy. I can't remember his name. I bet Mooten. Thank you. Yeah, Mooten Kylegate. He is the he created or founded Calm, right? Like, didn't he build Calm? Like, he's the original builder of Calm, I feel like.
It's either that or he's like not far off in that, like
something like
I don't
that.
like he's like wealthy money.
He's of the family.
Yes.
Right. Okay. He's of the family that established Calm.
Yeah. So
and so he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. So all of that stuff, it adds to this this lore, as you just once again explaining why I just walked around the town just for hours, just walking around because I just wanted to hear what everybody had to say. I'm into it like that, but I feel like as just a casual player, being able to just hear all this chatter going around, it makes the town feel lively. It makes it feel lived in, and then
that's what I was. Yeah, sorry, no, continue.
No, I'm just starting then if you start listening in, you're like, oh wow, they're talking about something here. There's a festival coming up, like a wine festival coming up,
and that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. That's what I was getting. So like, I do like to look at. Sometimes I like to enjoy a piece of media without the need to indulge in ultimanias or indulge in like, because especially with art, it's fun to interpret it in your own way because. Not to discredit things like Ultimanias or sequels, whatever, but sometimes over-explaining or giving an answer to everything can take away from artistic interpretation. Because, and what's cool about this is that it's a rewarding experience to those that are in the know, but I almost wonder, just like to the casual player who maybe went from remake to this or just played this, you're hearing all this stuff, and what's fascinating is that it's honestly just a bunch of things that you would probably hear in any other lively town like this.
Yeah.
Wine concert, Akira being, or Akira, I think they, how do they say it? It's like Akira,
It's Akira.
I think.
Akira.
Akira? Okay.
I think it's Akira, but we could say Akira. I don't need to be that guy. But,
Like-
you know, he just,
Akihabara? What do you mean?
I think it was,
I feel like it's a
Like-
shout out
like
to
Greek-
Toriyama, right?
Japan?
yeah.
Like
Well,
I feel like that's
dude.
maybe, I don't know, the name Akira. Or
Interesting
Akira.
piece of lore about that real quick is the guy who actually, isn't it something Toriyama who made his character?
Oh.
I forget who.
He works on the works on the development
Yeah,
staff.
he made his character. I read this because I actually looked up him. Like, I listened to the whole concert on my replay, and I looked up the lore of that character, and it's just funny. He literally made him so that he could do whatever he wanted with him, apparently, because there were some characters who would have some relevance to the story, even if it was very minor. So, like a character like Kyrie, who you could do just like nonsense with, but she still has some minor relevance. He wanted a character who he could just throw anywhere and didn't need to elaborate or explain what they're doing. He's just there. And apparently that's Akira. Like, he's just... I think it'd be fun if he's just singing in calm. And so he did it. And I thought that was really cool. But, you know, like, I think it's just fascinating that you could walk around calm and almost every NPC dialogue could be traced to something in the wider compilation.
Yeah.
But you could also just take it at face value, and it's like, wow, this is an incredibly beautiful, lived-in town. So,
Moreover, that's good writing. I mean, I
That's
would
great
take it a
writing.
step further. That I mean, and I think a lot of franchises kind of struggle with this. For example, I mean, something like Star Wars sometimes has a problem, in my opinion, of like, oh, everything has to always go back to the central big things, and so everything has to be connected. And that's not bad, but it's much better if your work has its own artistic merit. And then, yeah, you've written things in such a way that the crazy nutcases who were willing to watch all of the Before Crisis episodes on YouTube can also see things, and it's enhanced, but it's not requisite. And to me, that's a statement of great writing and something to be truly lauded.
Yeah, I agree. Motamu Toriyama is on the development staff. That's who I was trying to. Maybe that's who you're thinking of. Anyways,
yeah. I just looked up it just real quick, and then we can move on. It just says on the behind the scenes here on the wiki, according to Motomu Toriyama, because characters he had made for the original, like Johnny and the Shinra middle manager, were involved with the main story and quests, he was not able to use them freely. Akira was created because Toriyama wanted at least one character he could play around with. And I just thought that was really funny
Love
that he just made him to be like, oh yeah, we'll throw this goober over here. So,
Love that so much. All right, so we move on, and now we get a introduction. Oh crap, are we still good? My mic still work? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
All right, cool. We get an introduction to the bonds of friendship mechanic that's going to be throughout this game, and I think that's cool because that was kind of a mechanic in the original game, of course. So whoever you are building your friendship up with is who you're going to go on the date with. So you talk to them, you give a little bit of agency in how you want to respond to them, and that's all I ask for in a Final Fantasy game. Just a little tiny bit. It doesn't have to drastically alter. It doesn't have to be Baldur's Gate 3. I just want just a little bit of like, hey, I want to choose to talk to Aerith this way. I want to say what I want to say to her this way. That's all I need in a Final Fantasy game, so good there. So before talking to Aerith in this gamer spray, must not like Tifa, am I right? God, didn't talk to Tifa. I'm just kidding. So didn't talk to Tifa, but when you do talk to Tifa, she talks about she's like, this is the night after or the morning after, like they had that argument, that little fight there. And I was kind of, dude, I love this character building in this like first two chapters. Great stuff. Anyways, the little awkward moment, they break that awkwardness with, hey, what does this Mako tank remind you of? the water tower, right? And Nibelheim. So that was cool. You can
The promise.
or the promise for
Or the
bonus
promise.
points. For bonus points for sure.
I racked up all those Tifa bonus points. I'm just letting you know.
So there you go. So I think that's cool. And then you go over and you talk to Barrett. He's at the bar, and Barrett, like Liam mentioned earlier, where he's taken this vow not to take another drink until the bar is open, and you can like, yo, first drink's on me in that case. That's awesome. He's like, yo, then I'm gonna buy off the tippy top shelf. You know what I mean? You know, like I didn't give you the full Barrett. All right, I didn't give you the full Barrett. That means I'm gonna buy off the tippy top shelf. No, that's not it. I don't know, man. I gotta hear it first.
I mean, I think that this is a great example of, in general, where I feel like Rebirth excels is giving us more character moments. Be it this particular example of, you know, the dialogue in the affection system, or just as a general statement, I think one thing all of us wanted was more private time or to pull maybe a term from Star Ocean 2, private actions, so to speak. Just anything that you know allows them to interact with each other. That's something of which we want more. I love OG very much, but I can't say that, you know, every character got time throughout the game, right? Like some of the arcs kind of began, and they finished. They have improved that we're always doing these sorts of little private actions in the towns. And I think, you know, this is one of the really great things about Rebirth, was allowing us to have more character time, be it in the affection system or just in general. I think they've done a great job. But also, you can modulate that a bit, and there's great replay joy in going through each of these. Although I will say I have a certain weakness in that. I remember the first time I played, I mean, I figured, okay, because I know OG, there's going to be a date thing. I better, you know, ship the person whom I wish to ship. However, you know, I was like, yeah, but I really love this other person. I can't be mean. So, I mean, I logically was like, no, I need to get the most with this person, but I also love the other characters, and I can't pick the main choice. And so that tells you
I think that's why they added 3 dialogue options a lot of the time, so that you can really flatter. No, well, that's just it. Yeah. You can really flatter who you want without being a dick to those who you still want to be cool with, but you don't want them to like you too much. Not enough to go on a date with you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't have to be a dick. You know what I mean? Like you can.
Right, just be a chill guy with them.
All right, that's.
Well, but it's also interesting they had a timer, because I remember, like, I would look at it and be like, think fast, pick the right. And like, I did not have time to gauge. I'd be like, there's a crap one, a good one, pick the good one. Oftentimes, so I found that. I don't know. I kind of like.
And sometimes good and great could be like a little muddied. You weren't sure.
Oh, yeah, some of the later chapters, I was like, how did that
like the guy
from
the Star Wars pod racing?
There it is. There it is.
About the Wado. That's not me.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
The tippy top shelf.
I'm impressed.
This is not the impression you're looking for.
Right. That's right. Hey, Dad, say
never
voodoo.
said I was a voice actor. Never claimed it. Never claimed it. All right, y'all. We're gonna keep moving because we got Aerith asking Cloud, "Hey, you want to go to the top of that tower with me? Because that looks like a fun time to go on a date." And we're like, "Heck yeah, we want to do that." And so we're gonna go on that date with Aerith. But first, we need to swing by and check out Magnata Books. We're going to go, folio systems. Cool, we're learning that stuff. We can talk about mechanics later on. This guy's going to go talk to Barrett. Maybe he did swing around and talk to Tifa. Who knows? Gamers pray. Why don't you go watch his video? Subscribe. Their video. I don't know. So we go here to the tower. This is cool because the tower in the original game was back there, and we always knew that, or at least we figured as much, that Marlene looks out of that, right? When Meteor is falling?
Assumed.
Yeah. He does look out of the tower? I thought it was just a house, but I guess it is the tower.
It was kind of a house behind houses in the original game, but this one's like, hey, it's one.
As long as it wasn't Kyle's Gate's house, we're fine.
Because freaking Kyle, if I have to hear him again. And yeah, so this is kind of like a main attraction here, as Aerith had to go get tickets. So that's kind of cool. We go up here to the tippy top floor, and Aerith's like, I think Midgar's this way. And like, Aerith, yeah, of course, you can't see it right there on the horizon. I mean, it's pretty obvious, Aerith. You know what I mean? But she was just trying to make a conversation, and Cloud didn't catch on to that either. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty far away. You know, like, come on.
I mean, Cloud's dialogue is at best, not
far away.
annoying people at best.
And she's just like,
right.
He's just acknowledging how rendered it is.
Yeah, so
like,
anyway.
how surprisingly rendered Midgar.
Wow, man. Yo, that's off in the distance, and they put detail on that. That's kind of crazy.
No popping.
No popping whatsoever? It is far away. Oh,
Sorry, I had to.
I really like
Really
this.
enjoyed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. You're about to say what I said. Go ahead. Take it away, Doc.
No,
Block.
after you, sir.
Okay. so I like I like this. Aerith and Tifa are roommates. I think Rebirth is doing a fantastic job of setting up that, man, Aerith and Tifa are best friends. They love each other. They're great friends here, and they talk about everything. And as we'll find out later on in this game as it goes on, they do talk about everything, boys included. So they shared a lot of stuff when the camera cut away, and I would have loved to hear what they had to talk about. But Aerith is like, don't look so shocked. We're shocked. We're roommates, So confronting Cloud about like, hey, did you guys have a little bit of a fight? And she says, don't take Tifa for granted, because she wishes that she had a friend growing up. And it's almost
jerk. Sorry.
It's almost kind of sad though, right? Like, I love that like you get this little subtle note of sadness here, because Aerith is kind of like, she didn't have any friends growing up, and I just like that little touch there. And she's become very close to Tifa.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
I love how this game develops their relationship.
Me too.
And it's nice, it's not nice that she didn't have friends, but it's nice that she really entrusts and values her friendship with Tifa. Probably because as far as like having like a girlfriend is like concerned, this is her first, and no chat, that's not what I meant before some of you go in their girlfriend. No. No, because I know some of you ship it, but anyways, going forward. No, it's just that what I'm getting at though is that it's cool that she really appreciates and values Tifa to this like insane degree. I think is it the kids are all right that they mentioned that Kyrie and Aerith are friends, like they were.
That's one of the things that is kind of a plot hole.
I don't know if they're retconning it. Yeah, because
it's a little bit.
It can't.
It just can't work, right?
She
Because I
doesn't
wanted to bring that up because you
say
see Kyrie later.
Yeah, and she doesn't say anything about Aerith being in the party or anything. But that is a good point that you bring up, because they were. In fact, it was Aerith who like inspired Kyrie to like do the whole con that she had about like talking to the planet or something, right? I can't remember too much about it, but
you're right, you got it spot on.
Cool. So anyways, like, so she had somewhat of a friend there, but
she was like her first real like best friend,
and I love that.
Versus...
I feel like the bonds of friendship here on full display, because I think that is, well, no, I know that is because the writer, either Nojima himself said it, or it was Hamaguchi said it, but that was the theme of this game, the bonds of friendship, like that, like the bonds that we make, and strengthening bonds or something like that was the theme of Rebirth, whereas reunion was the theme of remake, like reuniting and stuff like that. So I think they're doing a great job of setting that up in Chapter 2 right away, especially with Tifa and Aerith. So this is a new new thing. This is a new thing that wasn't in the original game, and honestly, I dig it. I like it.
Yeah, it was cool.
So
it's a reflection of the characters do not all just revolve around the protagonist. The characters also now have relationships that are split with each other. A, that's just richer. B, as a statement of female archetypes, this is better than just, purely the idea that, the women exist relative to the male protagonist and identities being, potentially defined as, oh, well, we both love him, so we hate each other. Not that that was in the original. It wasn't, in my opinion. But I mean,
it wasn't in the original, but they were a little catty with you. Like, if we're being honest here, like the scene in the holding cell where it's even.
I know what you mean, but like, I don't know. I mean, everyone should have friction, right? I mean, if guys hang out, they should annoy each other. So like, I would say like there were idle lines, but I mean, I don't think that at any point like Tifa was like that bitch. Like I don't think it was ever that much.
We actually get a little bit of hints of that later on, and we'll come back to it. Let's get a
yeah.
It's a very subtle thing.
We've neglected an extremely important lore point.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Go for it.
Just before you go up to the clock tower, you can hear a vendor talking about how there's Chocobo ice cream, and I have questions.
Yeah, Shinra may have just stormed the city, but let's talk about the ice cream real quick. 'Cause now I got questions.
Well, I was like, wait, are they get milk from Chocobos? Because this is
this Chocobo ice cream right now, man.
I need to know. I've got questions here. I'm not sure how I feel about the concept of Chocobo ice creams. I was very anti-Chocobo steaks.
You remember like those dilapidated SpongeBob things that you get from a...
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, with the gumbo eyes. It's just
Chocobo with a drooping eye over here. Like
it looked like a damn nightmare when you took it out of the packaging. Yeah,
that's what they were talking about.
I was thinking. I'm like, I just assumed it would be Chocobo shaped ice cream, but the thought of Chocobo milk somehow existing is a very fascinating concept I don't want to delve into.
Dialogue made me think that, and I was like, I don't like this.
I mean, listen,
I don't like this.
It's a bird. I bet it tastes delicious, but not on ice cream. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree with Chet. I hope it's just Chocobo shaped, because if it's not, what
I don't
the
know
hell?
About the ice cream. Lone Star says, I thought I saw a mention of Chocobo soup. And hey man, Chocobo noodle soup. I mean, what are they going to have, chicken noodle soup?
I mean, I'd eat it. Chat, you can clip this, but like, I'd eat it. I'd eat Chocobo soup. If you're serving Chocobo, it's just big chicken.
This is big chicken, man. It's like the turkey of this universe, man. You get the.
I got the.
Boom.
You can't eat that.
Don't hurt him.
Don't
hurt him. Do not hurt him.
If it wasn't in the other room, I have that same exact plush. I'd hurt him. No, I'm kidding.
So on to not so important, like Shinra invading this. We can move on. Shinra comes in here, right?
Shinra who?
What'd you say?
I said Shinra who? Like Shinra, Chocobo ice cream.
Now, Excalibur. I think you had mentioned that this is one of your favorite moments, right? The raid from Shinra here on Calm.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So one of the things that I was watching leading up to this, I mean, I did replay the chapter, but if you watch Mo Gallagher's breakdowns of Rebirth, he covers some great stuff. But even if you didn't watch that, if you've played Dirge of Cerberus, you're going to see some parallels to the opening of Dirge and this scene, and it's very obviously done on purpose to sort of evoke this sense of familiarity and nostalgia and just sort of like wonder like where are they going with this. And I just loved it. I mean, this for me, this was my this was my best birth scene. Okay.
This is the accolade you chose the title, Dan.
I'm so happy that you guys have embraced it.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, this obviously this was not in the original. It was great new content. Like I said, it's a clear throwback to Dirge. The visuals are just great. There's a couple other things that I want to point out while I remember, because it'll go back to, so when you're wandering around Calm, you've got the girls that are doing the dancing that are all like practicing for the festival dance. That's also at the beginning of Dirge. Another little tidbit there from Mo that's in his video. But yeah, that whole thing just came together for me in a way that I was just grinning from ear to ear when I was playing that section. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I did not expect this. I'm thinking you're just going to waltz out of comp. No, You are not. You are going to go sneaking through the city. There's going to be guys parachuting in. You know, you're going to get more details about Broden, who's like your secret in man, basically, right? He's ex-Shinra, and he's got a history, and he's going to distract the guards while you're climbing up and, you know, going across ledges and all. It was just a great sequence, man. Like, I loved it.
I agree.
So,
Shout out
great
to
addition.
Mo. It's MJ Gallagher. He's over. He did those videos, video series for KoopaCon. So if you guys want to watch that, it's over on KoopaCon YouTube channel. But make sure you leave a comment and say, "We love you, MJ Gallagher. Final Fan TV sent us." That helps the algorithm and it helps us. That you. So there you go. Win-win.
He has cool books too.
Yeah, he has great books. The Norse myths that inspired
forget the
Final
Roman
Fantasy
one.
VII and Greek myths that inspired Final Fantasy VII. Both available on Amazon. This is not a sponsored stream, but who cares? Because we love MJ Gallagher.
That is right.
I love that this is a great birth. This is a great birth right here. You know, like the birth of a new idea here, introduced in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It might go in as my favorite birth as well. It might be my birth award.
I think we need to workshop this.
But I like that. I like that there's a sense of like, hey, we need to get you out of calm and get into this open world again. It's also that reflection of OG again, reminding us of like, hey, urgency forced out into this big open world. We're about to see that in just a second.
Dan, real quick, because I've done this every every time I've seen this motherfucking paint, I gotta acknowledge. I'm thankful there was a slight break there because I was like, I'm not gonna yell that while you were in the middle of talking, but I really wanted to. So thank you for the slight break. Continue on with your wonderful point.
Just a reminder: there's a yellow paint mod over on Nexus Mods. We can get rid of that stuff. We don't need that. We don't need it. And let me tell you what, there's also, we get rid of the indications, like the arrows that point towards a ladder that you're obviously like, yeah, I can climb that. Thank you. Yeah. We can get rid of those too.
Thank you, game. Very cool.
Get rid of those too. Mods out there, baby. The mods are here for us.
I would like a mod of just me screaming yellow paint each time your hand touches the yellow paint. No, every time your hand yellow paint, just grab the next rung. Yellow paint. That's what I want. Somebody please mod that for me.
Please mod
it. Because I'm not good. I'm not doing that shit. You can, one of you geniuses can do it. All right, continue on with your point, Dan.
Oh yeah, we get downstairs. Broden helps us. So that's cool. We find out a little bit more about Broden, how he used to be part of Shinra as well. He is part of, he has somebody in the HQ, right? He's got a contact in HQ. He works for Avalanche a little bit here and there, kind of helping him out, because Shinra screwed him over, and we don't know any more about that until we get to his side quest. But we also get a little glimpse of him. Hey man, he's not doing well, is he? What's going on with him? He's a little sick. We're going to find out about that. He gives us a cool little transmuter and a pouch, so we can do stuff with items and make more items and cool stuff like that. Gameplay. And we're going to come down this little ladder, and that's where the party's waiting for us. I don't want to skip this because this is kind of cool.
Ooh, I just saw a really interesting comment in chat.
Okay.
Dan, you should, if you want to do the hosty thing and read that, or should I read it?
Well, I got to give a shout out first and foremost to Josh Z. Thank you so much.
That's the comment.
That's the one. Thank you so much.
That's the one.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your super chat and your support. And thank you for filling out the survey. I believe you have a question that we will get to in just a moment. Josh Z says, I have heard people that I talk to suggest that Aerith and Tifa's relationship or friendship is shallow. Do you agree with that perspective? Because I think it is unfair. Josh Z, we just had a pretty big conversation about how much we loved Aerith and Tifa's friendship. So I believe we all disagree with that. We all love Aerith and Tifa's relationship, and their friendship is strengthened throughout this entire game. And I'm very excited to talk about that as we go. And honestly, it's like if bonds of friendship is the theme of Rebirth, there's the personification of it right there. So we will move on. I hope that answered your question. Now,
I think I just want to say real quick, I think they're the first real outside of Cloud, like friendship that we see really developing.
Oh yeah,
we do. I mean, we get like tidbits of it with Barrett and Red when they're not even friends yet, but in Remake we see them sort of develop. And this game, we'll get to that. Really strengthens. Oh my god, I can't speak.
Yeah.
Why am I here? But strengthens their
Why am I
bond.
here? The whispers. That means the
Oh my God,
whispers
that's
are
not
with us right now.
But no, like I think that it's cool that the first real relationship that we're seeing from two other party members that are outside of Cloud is those two. I loved that. I
Great
think it was
point by
cool.
Toolman as
Yeah, I
well.
guess
Barrett and
we already
Inaki.
had that.
Yeah.
We already had that for Barrett and Tifa because they already were
True.
friends.
True, but I'm going to counter that with they were already friends. Right, you said it.
Yeah.
They're already friends. We understood there was an
Right.
established connection. This is the first developing, because quite frankly, with the exception of some connected characters, like we know Barrett, and by the start of the story, there's really, to my knowledge, only like 3 characters who have a connected relationship. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but as it stands, it's Cloud, Tifa and Barrett. Everybody else meets each other and is going to form their relationship as the story goes on. So, like, what I'm getting at is that as far as already existing relationships are concerned, we know Cloud and Tifa have one, and we know that Tifa and Barrett have one.
Yeah, and Tifa and Barrett's relationship also strengthens too. Like
it
we're going to see that in Rebirth
considerably.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
We've got so much
No,
more
it's
to
gonna
talk
be
about
it's going to be awesome.
because we see that
But
as well.
yeah, you're right. You are right, Rob. But I think the point I was getting at more is that this is the first relationship that we're seeing develop from its beginning. That there's no need for a preconceived understanding of Tifa and Aerith.
Yeah.
I guess I would disagree because I would say that this began in Remake. I think it's a really poignant, memorable scene in Chapter 10 in the sewers.
Well, okay,
when,
yeah.
I
think I mean in this
that
project
seed was
collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is a Rebirth exclusive thing. I'm saying that in this project collectively, but now we are seeing it
sure.
develop. This is like the next step. We just saw them become friends based off the conversation that Aerith and Tifa had, or Aerith and Cloud just had on the clock tower. I feel like we're now at a point where they are much tighter.
Yeah,
like they're
Actually,
super close.
I'm going to disagree with myself. Which I mean to say,
you sound like me making a video.
We love the self-reflection.
Now that I'm thinking about it, to again use my personal nomenclature that no one else does, in most and pretty much all of Remake, we had Eris, meaning the ghost of FF past, or however we want to say that, as opposed to Aerith, meaning I don't know everything. That through most of Remake, the Aerith that we have has some degree of understanding that she doesn't know Tifa only from that. She has the memories of who Tifa is in the past, another universe. I'm not going to get into that discussion. So in all fairness, this is literally a different Aerith who has arguably lesser knowledge of that Tifa. So this is actually a more of a beginning, starting everything post singularity, as opposed to whatever amount Eris in Remake knew of the future, another universe. Again, not trying to.
Sure, there's.
I don't want to get into semantics discussion.
No, I
about
definitely get what you're saying. I feel. I mean, she still has those memories of making everything that happened in Remake. But she just doesn't have the future memories. So we're gonna go
future memories.
Hey,
this language is so good.
Sounds like a Kingdom Hearts title.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Kingdom Hearts 4 Future Memories.
Yes.
Mr. Bigglesworth said, "Aren't you about to encounter the whole 'we're on a date' kinda?" I love it. Let's get over to it right now.
That is a great line.
So
thank you, Mr. Bigglesworth.
Yeah. Here we go. We come on down. Oh, look how they're so happy to see each other. You met it in one piece. And then this is kind of cool because Barrett kind of acting like that leader, kind of acting like their dad a little bit.
But I was talking about at the end of last episode.
Watch this.
I love seeing this.
Love that
Love Red's reaction here.
Oh, yeah. What does Red do?
Wait, was it? Yeah,
It's coming.
I love that so much. Yeah, let the scene.
What's he say?
Oh
Can you
my
guys
God,
hear it this time? No, probably
No,
not.
we can't. But it's okay. I have this memorized.
And
Dude,
Yeah, sure.
wait.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
Uh.
I've been streaming this like replay that I'm doing for this to just my friend, who is a real homie. Shout out to Nick again. I shouted him out last time, but like he's just accompanying me for this, and it's actually helping me take my notes because I'm talking out loud, and he's just watching and casually throwing a fresh perspective on things too, which is cool.
Like that.
Because he has like no stake really. Like he does know the lore because I've talked to him about it and chewed his ear off and put him through hours on hours of one-sided discussion. But you know, I said to him during the stream, I said, I love that Red acknowledges no dating at this time, as if he's gonna go.
right.
It's like,
He's keeping his options open.
It's so freaking good. It's a little nod from him kills me. So I'm so happy you like that too, Wiley, because that had me in stitches last night because I completely forgot he also nods, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's a man who gets it. He knows that we got to stick to the mission. We're no dating at this time.
That's funny. Jelly Sand knows all about that though. Jelly Sand in chat said they got Nanaki for the date.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about the chapter 12 date.
Yes,
I
it's gonna be
can't
great.
wait.
We should all get
Dude.
somebody different so we all have something to talk about. Like,
Well, I was about to. We don't have to talk about this now, but that I suspect that's going to be a long chapter breakdown.
it might be
I
a
just have
two-parter.
That might be because I'm assuming we're going to want to touch on
Yeah.
every date. So
Now this is
Alright.
this is a crucial moment here, y'all,
Mhm.
because I gotta say it right now because Cloud Caillou from the survey says that moment when you open the doors to the open world and the whole processing of it was their favorite moment, their favorite rebirth. It was their favorite rebirth in the survey. So I think the FF7 trilogy here had a like monumental task ahead of them, a very difficult task to kind of mimic that. Like I've talked about this throughout, where you have to mimic that same feeling that the players got from the OG to really make this a remake. And in the original game, of course, you just step outside of Midgar after you leave there, and boom, like holy, I can move around. This is gonna be great. The whole world is so huge, when really it's just like, hey, it's just a straight path. But it's like, hey man, we just want you to go to Calm, all right? But this might be my. Oh, I didn't know I was wrestling with this as my favorite rebirth moment, but Calm was so beautiful too. But walking out and seeing this sprawling green landscape, and the music is intentionally uplifting as you're hearing it, right? But what I love about Rebirth, and they do this quite often, that duality, that freaking, maybe not even a duality, where it's almost just undertones. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. I don't like that gesture. Where it's, yeah, that's a little.
I missed it. Well,
you get a little undercurrent.
damn! Before you get me like.
little undercurrent. We'll keep it with a Final Fantasy VII theme. A little undercurrent of despair, maybe a little bit of something's not right. So you get this uplifting moment where the music is swelling like it's a freaking Disney park. It's so beautiful, and then Red 13 goes, "Yeah, but it's dying." You know what I mean?
Thanks, bro.
Oh, snap! And then it's like, whoa, and then Tifa looks back and goes, "Yeah, I guess we can't come back here anymore." And it's like, oh yeah, Shinra's still out there, isn't they? Like, oh man, they're on our tails. The planet's dying. But hey, it's the first step on our adventure. It's so great.
Yeah, man.
So I love that there's like this little juxtaposition kind of going on here. Don't you say it, Lone Star.
I'm gonna feed you on this one, Dan. I'm gonna say that should be up for your hype award right there.
No, I think
you gotta consider
tussled
that
with
heavily.
a bunch of hype moments. This I think really is just I'm almost like speechless. I rewatched it while you were talking, even though I don't have the audio, I could hear it.
Yeah.
It's and what's cool is that I'm gonna say this: the iconic moments that we've seen before are basically like retellings or reimaginings of pre-existing iconic moments. This to me feels like Rebirth's like this is the iconic moment so far that we are getting. That is Rebirth's iconic moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it's like stepping out of the shelter doors and taking in the grasslands. This is Rebirth's moment, and it's cool because I was super excited for Rebirth to come out, and I mentioned before, I had some thoughts on remake, but I was still super excited for Rebirth, and that moment solidified. I was like, all that hype and all that wait time, like, holy crap, it's here. It's tangible. It's not just a cutscene show. It's not like it's the intro cutscene to remake where we're seeing, and this isn't like a dig at remake. That's a great intro cutscene. But the point I'm getting at is like it's not just us viewing the world and not even getting to really go into it.
Mm-hmm.
We're in it now.
Yeah. I think
Calm was behind us.
Yeah.
We walked out of that and it was beautiful, and now we're going into this massive world.
Intentionally keeping that from us for a little bit before giving it to it like right away, because obviously the first thing we should have done if we're following the OG would be to just, hey, here's the open world, because we're out of Midgar now. But to kind of keep that from us for a little while, to then open it up, I think that was brilliant as well. Thanks for equipping that subscription, Brian Becker. Appreciate you. And yeah, I think.
Oh, that's my homie.
Hey,
that's my boy.
Out. Yeah, there you go. There we go.
Brian, thanks, dude.
So yeah, I think that was a brilliant move there, and dude, Excalibur, I agree. It might be up there for my get hype moment. We have maybe another hype moment. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, we walk out there, we're introduced to this whole open world, and then of course, we got lots of stuff we can do. Whereas in the original game, it was
pause briefly.
Yeah, go right for it, man.
One, if it matters, a statement of record. This was my get hype moment as well. This was also my Rebirth moment. My nominee for best music piece is the main theme here / the battle edit. If I have to pick one, I'll pick the battle edit. But I mean, it's the same piece, so to speak. There's one question I wanted to ask, which is, how does Nanaki know that the planet is barely hanging on right now? How does he know that that's true? Is this legacy from what did he learn that in the singularity / Aerith touching him in remake, or is there a reason, or did he forget all of that?
I think we kind of get touched on this later in Junon. He seems to be clued in to quite a bit. Not to jump to the Junon chapter, but he does talk with her about the whispers, and he seems more I would put it as like Aerith seems the most clued in, but he's kind of close, I think, not like as knowledgeable of the everything going on. And also, I don't know if this is just like a cool, like, not meaningful, but just a cool thing to do, but he's also the narrator for the story thus far. For like recounting everything going on with remake. So I think that again, I'm not saying that that's conclusive of anything.
Right.
What I'm getting at though is that I think they are planting this idea of that, like, he's involved, he knows something. He might not be as ingrained with it as Aerith is, but he knows.
So I'm with you that I think the best explanation is that Nanaki did not forget, quote unquote, whatever I mean by that, stuff from the singularity for the reasons you're saying. But there's two reasons I bring it up as a question. One, just the skeptical nature of who I am is always like, well, you can always spin hypotheses that match your evidence, but it takes a lot to there's a difference between a direct statement versus matching evidence. That's one thing. But the reason I also bring this up is with regard to the very ending, in terms of who can Nanaki see. and I don't know the extent to which, at the very end of the game, the right way to interpret what Nanaki is seeing is very complicated in my mind. And I feel like it kind of requires you to think about, like, well, how much does he really have all the way through?
Wiley, you look like you're cooking something there.
Yeah, I think there's a potentially simple explanation for this, and this is just speculation. And he's from Cosmo Canyon. Cosmo Canyon is where Avalanche came from. This ideology that the planet is dying and it's actively being killed was born there. So I think it could just be that he was raised in that culture.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy way to explain it.
Especially coming off the heels of captivity. He just escaped captivity. He's seen firsthand what Shinra's doing. So perhaps I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
So I'm genuinely confused by the Cosmo Canyon chapter, and maybe this is a tangent. You can say, "Shut up, Robert." But
I'll let you say what you want, and then we'll get to that chapter when we get there. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm confused in Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
If the attitude of Cosmo Canyon is the planet is dying or not.
Definitely sounds like a great discussion for that chapter for sure.
Yeah,
because we're gonna
as opposed to note of that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Rob, you should definitely make a note of that, because that's a really interesting, like, to touch on again from like this conversation. I'm really fascinated to see where that's gonna go, but. Yeah, that does sound like a Cosmo Canyon discussion.
I think I agree with that question. That's a great question. That's like a whole topic.
I like that. So we're definitely going to revisit that when we get to Cosmo Canyon, and we'll make sure you'll take a note of that to kind of quickly answer the question, and we'll continue on. Where I feel like a little column A, little column B. We're like Excalibur brings a great point. Where I think, don't forget his origins. He is from Cosmo Canyon, the planetology, and all that other stuff. And Bugenhagen's talking about it a lot too. And you got when Aerith gave him future memories or whatever, he did see, he's like, that's our our world if we fail here today. So like he knows something's failing. But and then just to kind of read this little note, I don't know, from 1997. Red 13 can harness the agility of the wolf and the power of the stars to perform techniques that draw upon the land's departed souls. So he kind of has a little bit of a commune with the planet, maybe.
You're telling me that he has solar power.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, yes, he does. All right.
You can't keep getting away with this.
You can't do it.
You can't keep getting away with it. Little Breaking Bad reference if we're going back to pop culture.
Better Call Soldier.
Oh
my God, I forgot you said that. I forgot about that.
Stop him. Somebody stop him. All right, so we're going to make our way over to our first farm, and this farm is kind of our inside man that Broden hooked us up with. And this the farm guy is going to be like, yo, check it out, man. If you guys are trying to get away from Shinra, you might want to go hole up down there at the docks. They won't check there. That place has been abandoned for a long time. So on the way there, they do run into Chocobo Bill. And
I got a great note on him.
Yeah, Chocobo Bill, great note. I wonder what it is.
No, dude, because I couldn't unsee this when I pointed it out to my friend.
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
Pause.
Yep.
Okay, where the hell is it? Oh my God, because I was cracking myself up, and I don't know if you guys are gonna see this the same way that I do, but holy crap, I looked at him. I think I remember it anyway. He looks like an unkempt Adam Savage from Mythbusters to me. Like, I looked at him and I was like, dude looks like... Dude, no, I wasn't either, but I looked at him and I was like, bro looks like Adam Savage, but like if he had unruly hair and fell on hard times.
No.
And was a chocobo rancher, but like I can't unsee that, especially with the goggles down. He looks like he's gonna blow some shit up. And just anyway, I had to get that out there just because it was such a stupid thing. Granted, I don't think we're gonna have anything insightful to say about
Oh.
Chocobo Bill. But I had to point that out.
Let's talk how deep his character is. Let's talk about his internal struggle.
He likes the ladies. He's a charming fellow. I swear to God, that's what all I could see.
Oh.
There you go.
Dude, I want somebody to Photoshop him. I want this Photoshop to look like.
I thought we were friends.
We're on it. Gonna be on it.
God. Live action Bill Wen. Final Fantasy movie adaptation. Please cast Adam Savage. Chocobo Bill. Holy shit.
Man.
Thank you for pulling up the comparison, Dan.
You're
I really
very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
I did it as quick as I could. So all right, so we got we run into Chocobo Bill. He says our favorite hitchhikers, and of course he's referencing the intergrade ending there where he picks him up and takes him to calm. And then I love this little line here, hunker down, you say? And then he looks over at him and goes, I remember what it's like to be young and in love. He thinks they're gonna have themselves a good old time down there on the docks, doesn't he? Oh man. But anyways, they wanted a quiet place. He says, hey, you go down there, check it out. They go down the docks, boom, boom. Shinra doesn't look there. They get there, and of course, they're like, hey, I guess we could take these boats. Nah, they look pretty beat up. Not very good, man. We got holes in them. Water gets in that. And then you're going to sink, and what are you going to do then? Huh? What, are you going to fall into one of them bottomless bogs? Which I'm glad Barrett said that, because let me tell you, I was all on a little tangent there about the scene that we're going to get up to soon, where Cloud is falling down in the what seems to be an endless ocean of what was just a marsh that they were walking on.
If Final Fantasy VII loves anything, it loves shallow water on the surface that's inexplicably deep the moment you go under.
There's a conversation to be had in just a moment about that whole scene. Trust me, we have a lot to say there. But it does somewhat justify where Barrett kind of does a little foreshadowing and says, hey, there's endless holes that you can fall into. Or somebody says it. Then the ladies go on over to this sign, read about the Midgard Swarmer, and they're like, yo, listen, if you want to get across it, you got to get yourself a bird. And they say it at the same time. It's very cute. Bonds of friendship. And we come out of there, and you guys have anything to say about the docks, or can we move on?
Only thing about the docks is... Wait, Wiley, go ahead. Just go ahead.
No, I was just real quick. I was going to say, so what I love is as you're exploring the grasslands, you have this evidence that there was a battle here between Shinra and the Republic. You have like destroyed aqueducts, you have ruins, you have this abandoned tank on the road, right? You've got all these Shinra crates and stuff that are just, your gamer mind is like, oh, it's just like loot boxes to break, but there's like a lore reason that all this stuff is here, and it just felt really rich with story. Like, it was totally unexpected. I loved it. So I loved all the little pieces of this battle that had taken place.
I like how your point was so good he had to walk away. He had to collect his thoughts.
Your point about the Republic, that was my second closest option for my favorite quote unquote birth. I ended up picking something else, but I debated it because I'm very much with you that, I mean, it helps to fill out the world to say, well, what is the world without Shinra? Like, what was governance, etc. So, I mean, I think it's a very, very lovely point.
And I like that it's not it's not overly emphasized or in your face, really. They just sort of drop mentions of the Republic here and there. Because I don't think it's worth... It doesn't need to be so fleshed out to the point that, like, we can delve into its history from start to finish. But it's cool that we're getting tidbits about it through the story. It's cool that we're hearing about it. It's cool that we know it exists and we see its impact and we see Shinra's impact afterwards. And in the grasslands, we see a lot of discussion from people like Mildred who clearly have bias in favor of the Republic and people who are, anti-Shinra. Welcome back, Dan.
I was very confident. I was like, yo, Wiley's about to cook. Let him
Dude,
cook right now, baby.
that was so fun.
I'm gone. I had to go to the
When
bathroom.
you walked
man.
away, when
Drink
you
a lot of
walked away, that really got me. Anyway, my point in comparison to Wiley's was really stupid. I was just gonna say the way that they talked in sync was cool, but is it this scene or a different scene where they both kind of get no, it's at the docks when they both get kind of like weirded in his face.
Oh
I'm
yeah, that was a good point.
what are
where they
you- what are you
asked,
doing?
Can we get some birds, Cloud? No, that's actually a really good point because I love that they kind of team up on Cloud a little bit every now and then. Listen, I don't care what side you're on. That's just fun. That's just
It's
fun.
good.
I don't care what side
just
you're
good
on. That's
entertainment
just
right
good
there.
stuff. Because
it's
you're
it's
putting
very
Cloud
natural
in an awkward
teasing.
situation, and I think putting
Mhm.
Cloud in awkward situations they're just teasing. They're teasing. It's having fun.
Yeah, they're
like
just
that.
having fun with him. He doesn't know how to respond, and granted,
Yeah.
if I was in his
Notice-
shoes, I don't know if I would either.
I mean, notice how they went up to Cloud, not Barrett. All right, that's what I'm saying. Like they went up to Cloud to tease him because Barrett was he's kind of the leader. Barrett was the leader, and then he's like, "Can we? Fine." I liked it. Anyways, so we go on. Let's see. Lone Star asks, "Would you have wanted Lone Star in the chat right now? I see you with the message over on the survey. Of course, I'm gonna read these questions out when I can." Lone Star asks, "Would you have wanted the Grasslands battle music to be the standard battle music for the entire game?" Must have really liked it. What do you guys think? Like kind of using the main theme as the battle music throughout the entire game? Or how do you guys feel about, for briefly, because of course we're going to be moving, let's just, focused in on chapter 2, but do you like the idea that they've kind of taken the theme of every region and then made a battle edit out of that?
Yes, I
Okay.
love that. And I
Yeah.
think it's so cool how seamlessly it transitions when it
Yeah.
matches to the song. And don't get me wrong, the Grassland battle theme is great.
Yes, of
But I don't see any issue with variety unless of course you don't like a
Yeah.
certain song.
I don't
Like,
know if
I
Lone
mean-
Star is, you're here right
Don't
now,
go.
so you can kind of clarify. But I wonder if Lone Star was in the question asking if it was if Lone Star was asking like, hey, it's so freaking good that we wanted to hear it throughout the game, or are you making a comment on like having that variety? And sometimes there is something to be said about the classic traditional RPG soundtrack, like a Final Fantasy soundtrack, where you hear that repetition and then it's ingrained into your head of like, you know what I mean? Like that classic Final Fantasy 7
Yes.
battle music, like Fantasia. I played that recently. I will say that the battle music wasn't that great, but it's kind of like, it's hearing that same repetition of the same song every time you enter in a battle. There is something to be said there. XCOM
Let
says
the
yes,
battles
definitely.
begin.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Let the Battles Begin is a great piece of music.
Yes.
It's very super recognizable. That being said, do I need to hear it every single time? I mean, I actually personally could hear it every single day because I really love
Yeah.
that song. But at the same time, shout out to Jackie again, my girlfriend.
What's up, Jackie?
The amount of times when I'd be playing 7 on the couch and I could visualize the eye roll when like would just kick on because I think that there is good because there are times where I think especially when you're grinding, when you need to do the grind,
Yeah.
and you want at least in this game if I
You're
have
gonna lose
to
them.
grind.
Yeah.
At least in this game, if I have to grind, it's like, man, I'm tired of the Gungaga battle music. I'm just gonna go to Cosmo Canyon, or I'll go to Nebel. You could just give yourself the little break and variety you need. And this region has 2 different battle themes because you got the Midgar region and you have the Grasslands. So
Fair enough.
No.
So go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
No.
I'm sorry.
But
We need to be in person for these things.
Wiley uses redirect. Is it effective though?
Reflect.
Fine, I'll use ultimate. It doesn't matter to reflect. Sorry. Bad FF joke there.
I love it though.
So,
Who is that? Is that me?
I'm really empathetic to the question because as much as
Hold on, one second. Somebody is going ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. I think
I think yours is
It's me.
The only one that's going off. Yeah, you have the Discord
I
green.
found it. It was the controller like half sitting on the dock there. It was kind of going on and off. My bad. Good.
God damn
So,
it.
it was just going ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. So I had to cut you off. Go ahead, man.
No, you're good. So I'm actually really empathetic to the question because I do think it's ultimately better that they have diversity per region, but I think and I do really like my nominee for best music piece is the main theme here and the battle edit. However, I actually somewhat prefer the OG, even though I mean obviously it's much more primitive instrumentally, but I feel like it really went somewhere. Which like I mean, you can criticize that some music is just repetitive, like pick a pop song, etc. It's going to have the same musical structure, as opposed to like some great pieces of classical music. They go somewhere, right? It's not just repetition.
Progression.
And I feel like the original piece had a beautiful alternation between like this kind of dark, brooding element that was very omnipresent and sort of things getting worse. And then before kind of there's this breakthrough music where it gets better. It really had a great quality that it wasn't badly repetitive in any way
Right.
because the music went somewhere. As opposed to, for example, like I hated the music in like Gungaga. To me, that was very repetitive.
Oh, you didn't like that?
And I personally didn't like. Yeah, but I mean, I think that it's really fine if people want to have like the main theme as like a universal. I think.
No, I see what you mean by
way.
that. I think that there is merit to that because it's recognizable. It's you. What you see is what you get. This is representative of the journey that you're going through on the entire thing.
Because the music goes somewhere.
Because the music sticks with you. It's almost like ingrained. It's a part of the battle.
No. I'm not saying that it sticks with you. I'm saying that the fact that the music has, a darkness and a light. It goes.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, counterpoint to that is the different regions have that. I mean, Nebel's battle theme is very dark, and because it fits that region well.
Agreed.
So,
like my second favorite music for a region is Nibelheim, certainly, or I guess I should say Nebel. Anyway, as opposed to like for example, I didn't really enjoy Cosmo Canyons. Not that I have any difficulty, any criticism I make of it. It was just kind of very like very FF12 kind of like steady state kind of.
All I can say is my life is really sorry. Anyways, I'm still hearing the Gungaga theme in my head. There's something to say about that. What's he playing there? What's he? What is that? What is that? Is it a flute? Is it one of these? I don't know what's going on.
You broke the sound barrier for a second.
I'm sorry. Oh man, that's a little close.
Bro, it was so high pitched I could hardly hear it.
Right. Only Red 13 can hear those notes.
I think my dog's in the other room like
Right.
Whoops, my bad, y'all. My bad.
I do have a
anybody who was drinking wine tonight, your glass just shattered.
All right, y'all,
Continue, Rob.
let's move on. Let's move on. Such a good one, man. Such a good music, though. Anyways, I like your question. Thank you. It spawned some good conversation there.
And good points.
Yeah,
Rob.
it was.
Good points.
It was very.
No,
good
they were.
points. I agree. Some great points there.
I think
like
both
it.
sides have their merit at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
whether you like variety or if you like the consistency.
So,
And I think that's a good place to move on.
that's right. So we got Chocobo Bill. He's explaining how chocobos are able to float on rivers and stuff like that. That's really cool. It's very impressive. But I like how the camera work here. Once again, like I said in Chapter 1, I was going to be paying attention to see if the camera work was as good as in Chapter 1. It's good. It's good. I love we go back to the raid and everything, the raid on Midgar, and That was awesome camera work. I loved it. Hey, where we dropping, boys? And they jump out of the freaking thing. They're dropping in Midgar or in Calm. You know, that's a hot drop.
Dan, I just want to correct you real quick. It was Adam Savage explaining the scientific buoyancy. Like, he was explaining the buoyancy of Chocobo. So I just want. I understand it's a very easy mix-up. Chocobo Bill and Adam look very similar. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mythbuster swords.
Oh, he's got him too. He's got him too. So there we go. We're kind of getting introduced to the Chocobos and like the Chocobo Ranch here. We got Chocobilly. Very cool what they did with Chocobilly and Chloe in this game. I love how they expanded the family here. We got Chocobo Sam, who was introduced in Remake, kind of making a return and name drop here, where they're kind of blaming him for the death of their parents and the hardship, the financial hardship that they're under right now. And that is why you see Chocobo Bill. I just want to call him Chocobilly because I feel like that's what it was in the original.
William.
Yeah, so
Billy.
Hey, all names of William, right?
I didn't know there was an issue. I didn't know there was an issue with Billy.
Yo,
I didn't know we could...
Chocobilly. What's going on, man? Chocobilly.
We can't neglect the single biggest failure of Chapter 2. You just passed it, missed it.
Oh, what did I do now? Oh, is it Chocobo ice cream? Is the return?
No, it's that there's no dancing chocobos at the Chocobo farm like in the original.
You know what, man?
Big fail.
You're right there.
I
It just
love
broke my heart because I forgot about that.
Maybe that's the Afterbirth Award, the one that didn't do.
All right, never mind. This game sucks.
The one that got away. The OG moment that got away. The Afterbirth Award. That might be the one.
I believe they left that out.
I just feel like it's such an adorable thing in the original. And like my wife learned the dance that the little chocobos do, and she does it on like demand.
She did it on the stream.
Exactly.
That was so great. I loved it so much.
Yes. And I'm so sad. Like it was such a stupid random thing in OG. It was beautiful, and you got the Choco Mog materia from it. And why?
So charming.
That was so beautiful.
Question.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Did you guys try to talk to the Chocobo?
Oh hell yes! Are you kidding me?
Did, right?
I tried for quite a while. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way they would omit this, and my heart was broken.
My heart was broken, man. Lone Star said they replaced it with a time trial for you though. So that's
great.
That
Yippee skippy.
I gotta agree, man. That was interesting because Rebirth is obviously they've shown that they're not afraid to do some goofy stuff. So they could have done it. But maybe it wouldn't have fit. I don't know. But it definitely they gave him. Yeah, there we go. Blame Chadley.
Dude, this is the game with breakdancing Cloud. You're gonna say that the dancing chocobo was too goofy?
The ultimate party animal.
I have a lot to say about that. We'll get there.
So yeah, there's no summoning material laying around, because of that. So, there you go, guys. So we get a little brief history about this family, which I think is still really cool because I did a whole video on the Chocobo farm, what to expect, and I thought they were going to kind of name drop the hunter from Chapter 1 who had the shield, right? Because in the Ultimania, they kind of drop some subtle hints that he was on a Chocobo farm, and from a Chocobo family or something. So I thought they
Huntsman
were gonna,
or whatever.
The Huntsman, yeah. They had the shield in Remake. I made a video about that. I'm like, yo, check it out. It's going to happen. But they make it more about Chocobo Sam. But I feel like there's still going to be some history there. Of course, this plot line develops throughout, and we'll come back to it. There's still a chance that the Huntsman may return, which I think is cool because that was literally, it was one of the first encounters that you get in Remake. One of them. So
I'm ready for this. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So we meet Chloe. They're struggling, right? They're struggling. They say, "Hey, go out there and get our Pico, bring it back." How did you guys feel about the change up to the catching mechanic? In the original game, it was you get into a battle, you have to feed the Chocobo while you eliminate the enemies, and then you catch the Chocobo. In this game, you can follow the tracks, which is awesome because it's a very, that is obviously a nod to the original game of, hey, here's Chocobo tracks visible on the world. You follow them, and you'll find yourself a Chocobo. And in this game, it's more of a stealth minigame. So how did you guys feel about the stealth minigame here to catch a chocobo? Go ahead, Scalabro.
Yeah,
So I'm
Wiley.
going to say, first of all, his name is not Pico. It's Biko. Okay, Barrett pointed that
Thank you,
out
Barrett.
for everybody. It's Biko.
Pico?
So my boy Biko. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
No, he's joking.
No, it is Pico, but Barrett calls him Biko.
It's a better name. It should have gone with Pico.
It's a way better name. Yeah. All I was gonna say about this is that like I knew Cloud was strong, right? But he way overdoes it with the rock throwing. We're trying to distract the chocobo. He's practicing for that limit break, meteor rain. I mean, he's just casually throwing like baby boulders over chocobo heads. Like, why are the rocks that big? Like,
Why are the rocks that big?
he's
all
really
negligible.
Why is he going up his ass right now?
Yo, Gamer Spray's trying to catch this one and doesn't realize. They don't realize it. Okay, it's the other one, I guess. My bad.
It's the wrong guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wrong one.
that's the wrong chocobo.
This ain't Biko.
But that's funny. He pick up one of these baby boulders and just. And the chocobo,
Chubb's biceps.
like Pico could
Ain't
be
no
looking
thing.
right at you too, like looking right at you while you throw this thing, and he's like, "Oh, okay, a rock."
So wait, was this guy's like? I never watched his channel, but is this like his first playthrough?
I don't know, but it's like you get the whole gameplay, no commentary.
Okay, because he
Shout
passed
out
the
to
rock,
Gamer Spray, man.
which I feel like tells me he
They-
might have. I don't
Who
know.
knows? Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, sure.
Gamer Spray. I just want to give a huge shout out to people who do this still. You know, like post
Yeah, no, this is great.
a full
Thank you.
gameplay, full walkthrough gameplay, with no commentary. It's in 4K and all that other stuff. Obviously, my stream is not going to put that in 4K for you, but it's still great. If you want the real deal, go check them out. Check out Gamer Spray, subscribe, leave a comment, and say Final Fan TV sent you. That's all I want. It helps them with the algorithm,
Engagement.
and it helps us. So there you go. Anyways, you can't do this. So like, I like this little stealth minigame. Gamer Spray is putting on a good example of like how this works. Whereas you have to throw this baby boulder, whoa, and that thing floats, man. That thing.
Yeah, that's the part that kills me. Is that it's a floaty baby boulder.
Yeah. So you get its attention, and you.
Charlie
and you
Newton's
think
law
about
of
it.
gravity is a little different here.
So did you guys say whether or not you liked? Oh man, don't get me into this gravity, Rob. Don't get Doc Lock.
Wait, where's the sun?
The gravity, the
Where's the
planet's
sun?
size is
It's the big yellow
a
one.
quarter of the size of
Oh,
Pluto. Don't
thank you, Wiley. I get confused sometimes. And how far is it from the Earth? Like 3 feet?
don't
At least 3 feet.
Don't get me
At least
started.
3
man.
feet.
Don't get me started on the gravitational pull of a planet this small. All right, don't get me started on that.
I just want to say, it's cool. My opinion is that the still. I killed Dan. All right.
I'm trying to drink
Are you
water,
doing an
man.
impression of Reno and Advent Children? I think I missed that.
I think it's cool. I think this tells me. No real opinion. I liked it
Hey,
enough.
you know what? There's no need to drag this on any further.
No, you don't really. You really don't need to. You either like it or you don't. I don't think we need to get into the nuances of how this would get better. You either look. It comes. Just say you like or dislike stealth in minigames in games,
I
and that's
like
it.
that. I like you almost had the cloud thing where Chadley's talking, and then just cut. Cool.
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 Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the greatest moment.
Chadley's. How do you like chocobo taming, Cloud? And
I
Cool.
walked you through the entire this is how it works. You sneak up. Hey, I think it's cool.
yeah, dude, I really got no. I mean, do you want me to break down
so I see-
the lore implications of Pico?
I see some thumbs down over here from Doc Lock. And who else did the thumbs down? What do you think, Excalibur? Do you like it?
I'm trying to be nice. I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Okay.
It could be better, but
Could you perhaps say
I-
it's cool? Like
It's cool.
It's cool.
Cool.
It's just it's
Whatever.
cool. Like
It
whatever.
does its job.
No.
I'm not saying it's cool. Like it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool. Like I'm not. Let me emphasize my cool real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in
It
an
wasn't.
acting class right now.
I didn't like love it.
Right.
But I didn't hate it either. It's cool. I can go with it.
Mhm.
I'll go with the flow. It doesn't ruin the game for me. Am I
like what
sitting
they
here
did.
saying?
I'll
Yeah,
say it.
I think it's
I'll
fine.
say it. They did something like they took Breath of the Wild. All right, Breath of the Wild, where you have to sneak up behind the horse, jump on it, and tame it, right? Except they took out the whole like smash the button to freaking tame this thing. Which in Breath of the Wild, I don't know what that means. What am I beating it? Like, what am I like? Just gonna beat this thing into submission? Like I am your master now. But in this one, you have to sneak up. I'm a real hit, man.
I'm holding back so many jokes.
There's so many that you want to say right now. So, anyways, yeah, I thought the stealth mechanic I thought was actually kind of cool. I do like stealth in games. So I thought this was good. I thought it could have been fleshed out a little bit more, but that's kind of what you get when you get a RPG of this scale and it's so much stuff going on. They're like, hey, we want to put in a bunch of mini games. Not all the mini games are going to hit, right? But I think a stealth mechanic is cool. And I think it breaks up the gameplay pacing, and they could definitely work on that a little bit more and make it really fun. I think as you go on to further into the other chapters, the stealth gets a little more involved to try to catch these things. So that's kind of like hiding behind moving trolleys. You know what I'm trying to say. Trains. So you get...
Ain't no getting off of them.
bear with me here. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's move on.
There ain't no getting off of this train. And by train, I mean talking about this stealth mechanic. So, no, wait, Rob, though, did you gave a thumbs down, I noticed, so...
No, I'm done with this. I really am done. Sorry, no disrespect, Rob. No disrespect, Rob, but I want to move on. No disrespect, let's get out of here. Let's get out.
Disrespecting the doctor.
Don't disrespect the doc. Yo, Doc Lock, I'm sorry, man, but we're going to move on. I'm sorry. So we're getting out of this. We're getting out of this.
All right. His opinion is it's not cool.
Look, I'm going to show gameplay to show that we're moving on. Nope, that's the wrong one. There it is. All right, we're getting out.
Did we skip past Chadley's introduction?
No, it comes up. It comes up after
that. Does come up. Okay, good. I forgot for... Wait, does it come up?
Yeah. Because we.
I'm not gonna lie. I did my replay on New Game Plus, so he was already there.
Yeah.
I'm putting that out there.
But here he comes right now. He's like, Cloud. All right. So Chadley's back, y'all. He's back, and I think it's kind of funny. A little funny moment there. Made me chuckle a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. When I first played this on my first playthrough, when he's like reading internal monologue, and you know, that was kind of cool.
Who is this loser?
Yeah, who is this loser? Like that, or no, it was something like that. What is it? Absolute pleasure working with you. So cool. Chadley's back. He's going to introduce you to the what everybody loves to call the Ubisoft Towers, right? We're going to get those. Detecting internal monologue. The hell's this weirdo doing here? Nice. So funny. It made me laugh a little bit. And he kind of shows you, like, you know, it was created by Professor Hojo to remind you of who this guy is, the cyborg, just in case you didn't play Remake for some reason. And it's going to introduce you to these towers where you can kind of unveil the world map. You take away the fog of war by, you know, going to these locations. They got all pop up all over the map. How did you guys feel about this topic that might be a little bit divisive, or this gameplay mechanic? Some people, this was the greatest thing ever, and some people were like, oh man, this is so checklisty. How did you guys feel about this gameplay mechanic that is introduced with Chadley right now, where it's like, hey, I need you to go get some world intel for me?
I want to suggest an idea real quick, because I'm curious where we fall on this. Just in like, without saying your point, could we just like in a couple seconds just give a thumbs up or down on this? I just want to know what this panel thinks. I'm curious if, like, because obviously we normally have to go one by one. So I'm curious, just off of, without emphasizing your point yet, were you in favor or not? Because I don't think anybody fell middle of the road. I don't think we have a... yeah, so I'm gonna...
towers.
No, I'm gonna go like
World
this.
Intel.
Of
Chadley.
World Intel Chadley. Like, Chadley introducing World Intel and what? Okay.
I like Chadley.
Yeah. I love Chadley, bro. Like, good. We got Chadley fans. I fucking love that guy. I don't know if Rob does. I don't know if Rob... Is he cool? Is he cool?
He's cool. I mean, he's cool.
That look,
I mean, he's cool.
that look.
Cool.
The doc locked in on you.
the dog locked in. Oh, I love it. He's getting a catchphrase and everything.
Well, no, okay. He gave a thumbs up to the intel thing. But now I think we're on to whether or not
expand on our points and just give the motion.
Yeah. No, well, okay, no. I do want to hear. Like, I kind of want to hear the points, but it seems like we all liked the intel.
Mm-hmm.
I was honestly expecting somebody here. I'm not saying I knew specifically.
I will say this
I was
real
expecting
quick
somebody to dislike
on the matter of how this works, right? I think it's great for part 2 or for this game to have that checklisty gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that. I think it was great for Rebirth.
Introducing an open world element.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I'm gonna say this. I'm telling you guys right now. I did every piece of intel and quest before we talked about this. I think in the first episode, or it might have been before the first episode. I forget, Dan. But either way, we spoke about it. I did all the intel and side quests pretty much before moving on. Now, I will say I've heard plenty of complaints about this killed the pacing for me. But as we learned from Remake and Rebirth, New Game Plus makes it extremely accessible to take this as you would like. I just wanted to be that guy who did it all before moving on. I wanted to absorb the game before moving on. But, like, if you felt it was too much, I would say go focus on the story, because this game isn't going to hurt you for moving on. It's not like you have timed side quests that you have to go do this now or you're never going to do it again type thing. So
I played it from all the way. I did the 100% Grasslands, 100% Junon. And I think I discussed this one before, so I'll be quick. But I was just kind of like, listen, man, I gotta see how this freaking thing ends. And I went because it was bothering me. So I went and I beat the game, came back later, and I did like you said, with the New Game Plus thing, carrying over quest progression. Freaking genius. I love that they did that.
New Game Plus in this game is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all the quests that I did were still there, and I can just kind of finish checking off the bucket list there, or the checklist there, and that made this game so enjoyable for me. That's why I gave Chadley the thumbs up. World Intel gets the thumbs up for me for post game. Not during game. I don't know if I would recommend it to players.
I wouldn't either, but I'm going to disagree with you only because I enjoyed it. But I don't think that that's reflective of every person. Yes. I'm just neurotic.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just insane. I wanted to do it. Uh-huh. I think, therefore I am. I think I'm going to be that guy, and therefore I am that guy.
Nice. Very nice. Did you guys?
I was like,
you got that
between you guys. Yeah, I was right in between you guys. Like, I 100%ed everything until Nibelheim. And then I was just hit with that overwhelming sense of just, I have to know. And then I just felt this momentum that just pulled me through to the end. And then literally, as soon as I was done, it was about 3 a.m., but it's like, save, all right, load. Chapter 12.
I call it Gungaga fatigue, and we could touch on this. I feel like that was the point for a lot of people where and it's probably because of how you navigate Gungaga. I think it's a bit convoluted, but we'll get there later. But with Gungaga,
I think sanctity of this podcast.
Of course. But like when I refer to Gungaga fatigue, it's the idea that at some point the overworld or the open world checklist stuff does get overwhelming. But the thing is that you're not forced to do it, which is appreciated, which most open world games, I think, you're not forced to really partake in any of the side content. I think this game, a lot of people have given critiques on it for its pacing, but I honestly don't think it suffers a pacing issue. I think you suffer the pacing issue. No, I think it's that. I think it's just that if you could really take this game at your own pace. Yep. Now, I see the face you made, Ron. I'm gonna say, at least how I feel, the narrative kind of moves along well enough. Now, if you have issue with how the pacing works within the story, within the objective, that's a little different than what I'm. Because I think where your point was getting with that is maybe like how the actual story progresses, but that's not where I'm just getting at how it feels to get from this point to the next point to the next point, going to each region. To me, it felt good. It only was bad if I chose to make it bad. Absolutely. If I wanted to allow myself to get overwhelmed, which I did.
What do you think, Doc?
And Well, so where I
Come
would
on.
disagree is on two aspects. One, you a lot of the part of the reason that I think it's not fair to say like, oh well, if you just want to focus on the story, do the story and just ignore this stuff. I don't think that's totally fair because a lot of the side quests, honestly, more true in remake, really help the story, really help the characterization more. Like I personally think the side quests in remake, for the most part, are really good. That they really enhance the characters, and you see their interactions in a way that is rewarding and it's fulfilling, and it's not that big of a diversion from the main story or whatever, because I feel like it's panning out the characters. In other words, I feel like those are good side quests for the most part in remake. Here, I feel like we had some quests. I feel like in general, the quests were not as good. Now, I'm not talking
Really?
about like just doing the battles of like, the harder variants or the towers.
Are you
I'm
referring to
saying,
side quests
Come on,
or
odd
intel?
jobs, right? Odd jobs.
I mean, I think they kind of start to blur, right? Because I mean, once we start talking about like the Gilgamesh things, those are kind of side quests. Like, oh, we're gonna see, the Bert's, not Bert's,
Bex.
Bex,
I
thank you,
think.
Bex badasses. So like I
Oh yeah,
think
Bex.
it starts to be kind of a continuous function. And the problem is I don't want to skip things
I
out of a
agree. That's why
FOMO
I
type thing.
didn't. That's why I
Right.
didn't. But
But the
I can agree.
payoff for a lot of the quests wasn't that good. Like, to pick out an example much later, my personal least favorite quest in the game is the stupid chicken quest with Nanaki. And like
Oh, I like
enough
it.
of those, and I'm like, I don't want to
Was there
miss
any
out
in
on the
chapter
good
2?
ones, but
Like, was there any chapter 2 example?
that were good or bad in my eyes. You're saying?
To kind of support your thoughts here, like about the pay, yeah.
I mean, this is maybe a little subjective, but I mean, like I adore Tifa, obviously, but I kind of felt like her quest with the cards and the bar, it didn't add very much. I didn't think it was that deep. And I mean, I feel like I'm
Wow.
the first one to argue pro Tifa things in general, but I felt it was a little empty.
Huh.
Personally,
That
I
was
didn't
my
think it
side
really
quest
added
choice.
too much.
That's your side quest award.
That's my favorite side quest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I actually noticed.
Convince the
I actually.
Doc. Convince Doc.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't
There we
prepared
go.
for that. I wasn't. Prepared.
Your Honor, I'm not. I wasn't prepared.
You're
All right, let's go into discovery. We'll allow you to have
No, okay.
4
All right, wait,
days
wait,
for
okay.
research.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think that what's unfortunate
We'll
is
take a
that,
recess. We'll come back.
well, wait, no. I got to the notes, so we can touch on this real quick. But what's unfortunate is that a lot of what I like about that quest is not it's not indicative of a good point. It's just personal. Like, it's just personal bias of what I like. I liked. All right, so none of what I'm about to say I feel like is really a good counter argument to this, but I guess since I already touched on this being my accolade for that, I'll just jump into that real quick. I thought that was my favorite because I feel like it was a cool character moment for Tifa. All the quests here have cool character moments. Nanaki getting 2 quests dedicated to him in this section, but for Tifa, I thought it was a cool because Chapter 2 really delves on, we're not home anymore. We're out of Midgar, so seeing, having this moment for Tifa where she gets to try the Cosmocania, which that's at the end of the quest, but really cool. I like Queen's Blood, so I have a bias for gameplay perspective because I enjoyed that. I loved how unhinged Vash was. I don't know if you could pull up a clip of that at some point, Dan, but him at that quest, just his dialogue kills me throughout that entire thing. And I don't know, like when you said that is your least favorite, that's so. What is your favorite side quest then?
For this
Is it the
chapter,
flower one?
Yeah, and for me,
Okay.
that was the best and I mean, I'm not gonna say it was great, but for two reasons. One thing I would slightly criticize about Rebirth is that I feel like, Remake was really hardcore on the flower motif for Aerith, such that, they really like made it her identity in multiple ways. And find it interesting that I don't believe there's any other time in Rebirth that there's like a specific flower angle for Aerith. I mean, I would have thought that they would have gone for something like, as she goes around, a lot of her quests will be related to flowers and different regions. I don't know. Like, I feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity. At the very least, her quest, what I liked was, okay, it's a specific callback to the kind of touching scene, in my opinion, in Remake, where, she and Cloud make the flowers together. So to me, that was the best. I mean, the other aspect is I didn't really like the other quests in this chapter. Like, the Barrett quest was about Kyrie, and I freaking hate Kyrie. I personally feel like she's a very...
Her theme
I don't
Kyrie
enjoy
is just
her.
kind of confused. I mean, look, she falls under what I like Kyrie. Not that I like her character in a way that I wouldn't put her in anywhere near my favorites, but she falls under what I personally call good annoying. Yuffie also falls into this category, but
Sure.
I like Yuffie. Like, sometimes
Sure.
you need annoying characters who aren't hateable. Like, they're not. You don't
See, to me, she
hate
crosses
them
into hateable. But
Right,
I'm with
okay,
you.
and I could understand. You understand what I mean, though.
Yeah, because I'm with you. Because I mean, I think to Yuffie's credit, coming out of OG, I hated Yuffie. I mean, there's nothing redeeming to her for me in the OG. I thought Intergrade was amazing. They took a character. She's still annoying, but I like her. I thought Intergrade was A+.
Yeah, she hits the
amazing
perfect,
to make her desirable. Yeah.
little sister archetype. She gets on your nerves. She talks too much. She's absurd. She should be on this panel. No, I'm kidding. We should get Yuffie in the panel.
Yeah.
That would be
No.
awesome.
No, but for real, sorry to rib on all of us with that one. I should have directed that at myself. But the point is that, the point I'm getting at is that there's like good annoying, bad annoying. Kyrie falls under good annoying, at least for me. I could see where you wouldn't like her. I think she just kind of confuses me because
God,
we
I feel
touched
like
on
they used
before
her all
her.
the time, too.
I loved
Didn't
her
they?
Avril Lavigne song though. My God, come on, that was
Yeah, dude,
that
that shit was a
good.
banger. That shit was a banger.
All right, so
Yeah, we can move
what
on
was
from
top-
the
what
side
were we
quest
talking about?
thing.
The side quest thing. So you like like the flowers, the flowers with Aerith to build for the
Yeah.
Chocobo family.
Yeah,
Choco fan.
but to and the reason that brought this all up was just that, to me, a lot of the pacing issues about, should you do all the things or should you focus on the story, quote unquote. To me, if it's really well designed, the quests really well integrate into the story in a way that, like, for example, I think the quests in chapter 8, Budding Bodyguard, I think they're great. They seamlessly add to the central story of Cloud and Aerith getting to know each other. Same with the quests in chapter 3. I feel like in Rebirth, they wanted so much for the sake of a world, and I'm not begrudging that, but I did feel like, because some of the quests didn't have as much integrated with, well, what are you trying to teach me about this character? What are you trying to teach me about their relationship? To me, they were lacking at times. I'm going to pick on the stupid chicken quest. I'm like, okay, that really added to me like nothing to the central story.
I mean, that's
so now it's a
fair.
distraction as opposed to I
Super
want it.
funny, though.
No, but that's what I was about to say. Is that I actually disagree with you. I think most of Rebirth's side quests really did elevate a lot of the characters and taught us a
I
lot.
agree.
But I could understand a gripe here and there with some of them. I think, for example, the chicken quest, it's funny. And I like sometimes, and that's why I like the side quest that I picked, the one, the Lost Rare Card, I think it's called. I like that for a couple of reasons. That one was equal parts funny in the beginning, because I don't know if we're going to play the clip or not, but if you guys have a chance, like, chat, go back, watch it, or play it. The voice actor for Vash in that scene kills me. His delivery
Of what
was
scene?
at the beginning of the Lost Rare Card, I believe the name of the
Got it
site.
up right now.
All right, perfect.
getting at is,
This dude kills me.
think you'd
I
be
was
able to win it back
crack.
for
Me
me?
and my homie Nick, we were cracking up at this guy. Wait a minute, is this the?
Thank you.
Okay, wait. Is there before this, like when you even just first talk to him? I don't know if this is where the video starts or not.
No,
but
it looks like it's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Okay, this killed me.
What?
This was like perfect dialogue that.
You a winner?
Hey, Mister, you a winner?
Some say.
You're a winner.
Some
Awesome.
and he's just like, yeah, awesome, good enough for me.
The name's fat.
I love that. And then later on, he just totally gets unhinged in this conversation as you realize just how much of a loser. And I'm not saying like a loser in a mean way. Like he just loses his shit a lot.
Yeah.
He just kind of blows off the handle, and he also just loses his cards. I think if you
love the Queen's Blood, like.
I love,
Oh,
dude.
that
Crybaby
character's great.
Ned is a character like I
Can you
love the Queen's Blood.
imagine if Magic the Gathering players were like this
Please.
extreme in every
Can they
map?
be in the real world?
Wait, are they not?
Oh man.
No,
Can
all
I
right,
I
wait.
think it's
Uh,
hilarious.
random challenges of people who want to play Magic? Like that would be
Oh, this-
That would
great.
be awesome. I wish
This
that
guy
was what it
didn't
was
pick the dialogue option, but I think when you have the choice of accepting the job or not.
Mhm.
Oh God, did I write this down? I hope I did, because he says something.
There's a blow him off type thing. I think is what you're
Yeah,
getting at.
and then
Yeah.
like I don't know if I wrote that, but there's something where you tell him to go get it himself. And I wrote the exact quote. He just yells, "God, you think I would if I could?" And, like, I just love that. It's like
He's
this
unhinged,
quest.
man. He
This
lost the
quest
card.
cracked me up. I wanted to learn more about this guy, and then by the end, it's funny because it starts off funny, and you're just like, "Wow, what a what a weird guy."
Yeah.
And then by the end, you have a sweet moment with Tifa
Yes.
with the Cosmo Canyon drink. And I love, this is also where we're talking about elevating the characters. I love that Tifa doesn't even say that she is the inventor of the drink.
Nah,
I love that
she just,
he pieces it together.
gives
you
him the advice to put the salt in there. Yeah. A bunch of salt.
Now, she mentioned earlier that she was a bartender. Like, he just naturally sort of, she did say that,
Yeah.
but she didn't say, like, when he's talking about the Cosmo Canyon, you just sort of see her, she gives Cloud a look, and I just love this moment. It's a very sweet moment. I think Tifa, especially coming off the heels of the argument with Cloud, where she's having a lot of... Because to me, Tifa and Cloud almost had... Well, not Cloud. Tifa has two homes, it feels like.
The subtlety of that, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's great because she needed the inspiration. Watch. She's like, he didn't put the salt in. Did you see that? He didn't. And like, it's just kind of like, that's cool. And then like...
And I think it's also that he mentions this joint. And they look at each other. It's like, I know that place. It's cool that they're.
I gotta say,
to
man,
me,
this added a whole lot to her. Like I
think so.
Yeah, because like this is the inspiration she needed anyway. She needed that pick me up anyway.
well, again, she needed a lift after this devastating arc. I mean, like devastating might be a bit of an extreme word, but they had a very.
That's
It was a
fair.
heartbreaking moment for them to argue like this. And again, I bring up the point that Tifa sort of has two homes, like, and this is, she lost one entirely, and we're gonna see later the horrifying realization.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, we know that she was, I guess so. It's just, but there's that hope of Seventh Heaven. We see earlier when we talked to Barrett at the beginning of this chapter, when you talk to him, and he's like, "I'm not having another drink until Seventh Heaven open." Like, they set this idea up like that. You could tell she misses it. Yeah. She misses her home. She misses being the bartender. And I think that this was a very rewarding quest in multiple fronts. It was funny. It elevated a new gameplay mechanic because we got to check out Queen's Blood more.
Yeah. You gotta play Queen's Blood.
Well, and we got it. We ended it on a sweet character moment. So I also noticed that while everybody was giving their accolades throughout, I thought this was for the end of the discussion. So I have a bunch of accolades. I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So I see I'm the only one that reads. No, I'm kidding.
Ain't no getting off the train until we derail, and we derail a lot.
I think that perhaps maybe part of what the difference is that I feel like for a lot of these quests, the actual quest feels like it doesn't have much of anything to do with the ending payoff scene. Maybe that helps explain, at least for me,
like going
for my
to go
personal
play cards and go get this guy's card back.
Right.
It didn't really.
Right. That has nothing to do with Tifa. It has nothing to do with the bar. Like, to me, that feels somewhat disjointed. Or, for example, like, I felt like the fact that for I'd say honestly, the majority of quests in this game, I do not know. If it weren't for the picture of who's going to be talking with you, I can't associate why this quest goes with this person.
This
Like,
will
why does the
be-
curate?
Yeah, this
But
is gonna
that
be
feels
great.
natural to me.
This is going to be great for you to kind of, now that you have that criticism, you have that in your mind. This is going to be great for you as this ongoing series, for this podcast series that we do. Like, now that you have a chance to replay the game and you get the chance to maybe, I'm not asking you to do 100%. Obviously, that's way too much. But play a side quest or two here and there, and watch some videos of the other ones, like this one here from Power Picks. Where you can watch the side quests and skip gameplay, because I'm curious.
New Game Plus, you could just teleport to each point if you want. I didn't, but you can just, like in this quest, for example, you can just teleport to Com, talk to the bartender, teleport to Thorin.
Exactly. It feels like this one feels like a little bit of a counter to what you were saying, because I do get what you're saying about oh, hey, going to go play cards somehow led you to a good touching moment with Tifa, whereas this one is about going to go assemble some flowers, very reminiscent of the side quest in Remake, and they feel like they're doing that kind of thing again where they're picking flowers out. Aerith even mentions it. I think that's really cool too. Whereas this one is up there. I know it was a lot of fans wrote in the survey about this one being their favorite side quest, and I do agree. I don't know whether or not I'm going to put it as my favorite side quest. It might be, though. It might be, because I do like this moment. I think the storyline of them working together to help out the Choco fam with their mom, like the flower wreaths that their mom used to make, and this right here being like a direct callback to Remake, and that moment they shared together is really, really cool. I like that. And she's kind of narrating like, oh, cute and soft, perfect for a flower.
Yeah, I wrote down each narration for each not the exact quote, but I wrote what the Spark Notes version of what she had to say for each, and the characters that are standing on each patch. I'm not going to deny your point.
Characters standing on each patch, I kind of got to go on that one.
Yeah, no, even how those things reflect. Rob, I'll point out that I can agree with your criticism to some.
Cool, dude.
Well, hang on, wait. Let me see where my note is. So
deep passionate reds for Red 13 over here. I think Tifa was standing on the flowers that symbolize reunion, right?
Oh yeah, here we go. Tifa on white daisies. They smell heavenly.
Oh, okay, heavenly
and are fragrant.
Heaven. Wow.
And no one, and then I even point out because there's two patches that no one stands on. No one on yellow. The
foxtails, I think.
Yeah, that's Cloud.
Foxtails. She says that she knew he would pick those.
So that represents Cloud.
No one's on the yellow one. They are cute and soft, perfect for a flower crown.
Who was the Foxtails?
Aerith. No, this is the yellow Candulas. And okay. I'm assuming that's Aerith because the foxtail, and
because she's cute and soft.
Yeah, she's cute and soft.
No, because follow the yellow flowers.
Right.
Yep, that too. And on top of that,
you once had a nutcase on your show pontificating about that.
Yes, it did. Yes, we went on for like a long time talking about that as well. That was awesome.
I'll throw out real quick before we move on. Just Barrett stands on blue. Blue forget-me-nots. They symbolize familial love, perfect for both the quest and for fatherly Barrett. And Nanaki stands on the red. I write like a doctor. I don't remember what the name of the flower is. Did you write this
down? Like, did you come up with this, or did you find this somewhere?
No, I genuinely wrote this when I was
that's really cool.
when I was just playing this. My homie had to watch me stop on each flower and write for like 20 seconds. But it was funny. Nanaki stands on the red, whatever the hell they're called. They are vibrant.
Deeper appreciation for this, yeah.
She quips, asking him if he likes deep, passionate reds. Mm-hmm. So, I just thought that was cool. Yeah, and even potentially a nod to herself because she wears the red.
I don't know. You like deep, passionate reds, do you, huh, Cloud?
So not that this matters. I picked the flower that each of the other party members were standing on. Since this was me and Aerith's quest, I sort of was like, I want to incorporate them. So I just picked the red, blue, and white.
Nice. That's cool.
To this greater issue of, the quest design. For example, my favorite Earth, quote unquote, for this is Broden.
Mm.
And I'm not, and I'll spare what I liked about that as much as I'm trying to say, I like that as the greatest new contribution. But for me, it just felt kind of odd in that, like, most of the quest itself, it's for Nanaki. I'm not saying you can't make a connection between Nanaki and Broden. Obviously, you can, experimentation, etc. But again, it just felt like in the same way, like, oh, I'm doing this quest. The actions of the quest feel not terribly related to the outcome or the person.
I got a
For
counter,
me,
man. Yeah, I was gonna say I got a counter for this one as well, where
please.
I don't know. I mean, hey, this is obviously how your interpretation and what you got out of it, and it didn't click
Sure.
for you, which is obviously perfectly valid. For me, you are going to this windmill where there was somebody that Broden had, history with, and this person is filling you in a little bit more on
Yep.
the history of Broden, and you get to find out a little bit more about him. I do agree where it's like, hey, we got to have something for him to do. So like, hey, go hunt down this Quetzalcoatl, and I thought that was a cool fight, by the way.
Great fight.
Great fight. So that you could get that in there. I think you do get the Kyrie stuff, right? Is that right in this one? This was a
That's
long.
the bear.
this
That's the bear quest.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
that's different.
Barrett's
Kyrie is the
Kyrie.
bear quest.
My bad.
Um,
Yeah. So yeah, there is this one. I did like the little dynamic. I think it's combining, right? I think it's combining because they're like, okay, we have this quest about Broden, and we're going to get a little bit of history about Broden and how Broden actually is almost symbolic of what Cloud may go through, right? Like how it's like, hey, foreshadowing here as you're watching somebody, and he even goes dizziness and headaches, huh? What else? And
Right.
it's like,
Well,
what's going to happen to him? And then that's where the payoff at the end is. So we're watching this dude slowly degrade, right? And then degrade. Yeah, thank you. And then it's like, okay, well, let's pair him up with Red, because now you get a little bit of Red in there, and you get I don't know, you get a little bond.
I think that there's a couple of reasons why Red is a good choice. I mean, I'm not going to say I agree with the point that this isn't something that Red absolutely had to be there for, but it fits with the themes of the quest.
We all agree experimentation. I mean, it's not,
we're looking at 3
not that I don't
experiments,
see it,
but also
doesn't resonate.
one other theme in this quest is like a character who's very fondly reminiscing about Republic technologies, and the only party member here who could remember or reflect on anything of the Republic is Nanaki. He's the old.
Wait, why?
He's 50 years old, right? He's been around.
He's 50 years old, so he hasn't been. All right, so I'm not saying that he's remembering the Republic, or he's remembering teachings of the Republic. As you walk around in the open world, he talks.
Slow down,
Oh wait,
slow
did
down,
he?
slow down.
Sorry.
Slow down. I genuinely don't know the timeline, and maybe I'm just ignorant here. I am not clear how long ago was the Republic, because it's not obvious.
I'm not going to say
Barrett didn't live through it.
I can't. How long ago was the Republic?
Here's part of what I can say.
It's in the intel. I just gotta find it.
Nanaki, at the very least, talks about Republic era buses and stuff like, or like he does talk about that when you're in the open world walking around.
So does Bill. He refers to it as well.
Well,
so these old
guys in Junon too who talk about it.
Yeah, I think clearly it's got to be recent enough where somebody like Nanaki can reflect on it, but it's hard to say. I don't know, because you know what? Maybe before I made that point,
I can give you like a little context until I find the actual number. But originally a citizen of the Republic of Junon, Rhonda has witnessed her town's residents endure Shinra's tyranny from the time she was a little girl, and unsurprisingly, harbors strong feelings against the company. She is 43 years old, so she was a little girl.
Okay.
When the Republic of Junon was around, and she's 43 years old now. So it was fairly recently,
like 20s or 30s.
Yeah, and then it does go to Liam's point of Red being most familiar with it. Yeah, I mean,
gotcha. Okay, fair. I'm convinced.
Cool.
I view that as Rob. I think your point is true. I think that there are some quests that definitely, like you're right about the Tifa one. The card game doesn't really amplify her story. It's the bar plot that is the tying line. The card game is really just a vessel to teach you more about this game. It gets you to the card shop, so it has a purpose, but not relevant to Tifa.
Yeah.
When I said earlier, and I didn't get to point this out, I think it's natural that sometimes these things don't need to be on the nose. Like, the Aerith thing is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice that we're getting something that's so easily tied to her. At the same time, I think it's also cool when we're getting side quests that the characters amplify it by being present for it, but it's not revolving around their character, so to speak. Their character is amplifying what's going on. And that's where I feel like Nanaki being relevant to the Broden thing, because again, 3 experiments. You walk in, Nanaki immediately points out that he smells something that reminds him of, like, I believe he says of Hojo's lab. So you're getting, he says that, I think, immediately when he walks in, sees Broden. He talks about, both in the open world and I think in this quest, the Republic of Junon, and you know, I think that this is a case of, are we learning more about Nanaki here? Not necessarily. We're
learning more about the world.
We're learning more about the world through Nanaki, and that's where his value comes from. So
real quick, I do want to jump in here just to kind of say, hey, we're getting, about 20 minutes from 12, just to let everybody know here. So we have a big discussion ahead of us. Coming up. So I was going to say, if everybody's cool with it, we're going to get to the Midgard Swarmer.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think
I only have
highest priority thing. I mean, there are other things that I'd like to discuss, but I feel like we should prioritize this discussion.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to. I'm gonna just say one thing because it has to do with one of my accolades, and I don't think it's really something that's worth tying back to. So I just want to point this out real quick.
Go ahead, man.
For best music, I had a very, very wild take. I had an opinion, Dan. I had an opinion.
Have an opinion.
I have an opinion. And I don't think anybody's going to agree with me on this, but I also didn't know where to put this because this piece of music is prevalent throughout the game here on out. Okay. And the best music is Duel with the Divine, which is the song that plays when you fight the summons. And the reason I put that out is because I have probably listened to that song an obsessive amount of like you would not believe how much I love that song. I almost went with the Grasslands theme. I almost went with the Hollow Skies Midgard region battle thing. I was debating calm thing, but that piece of music, I don't think that at least to me, I don't think there's a battle theme in this game that invokes the sheer like that song invokes like the feeling of a fight more than anything else in this game to me. I don't know if I'm alone on that opinion, but Duel with the Divine was just one of those pieces of music in this game that just absolutely blew me away. I was hyped to hear it every time I fought a summon, and the Titan fight's pretty cool. I think it's a cool summon to, fight first, and yeah, I wanted to point that out because that was very that was very Chadley centric, and I didn't want to have to loop back to him, so I wanted to point that out before we moved on. So,
all right, so yeah. Doc Locke, you had some do your bullet points, and then we'll move on to the Midgard Swarm.
The one thing I guess that I thought was of some consequence would be, why does Hollow play close to Midgar? Because it kind of got me asking myself some questions about, is Hollow about who I think it is? I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is that it's Cloud's journey, I feel, right? I mean, it plays for Cloud in Chapter 8 of Budding Bodyguard, etc. But, I don't know, I generally associate the Midgar Wasteland with Zack, and I guess I just found it interesting in general, and I don't have a clear interpretation to say, why does Hollow play in the Midgar Wasteland if it's supposed to be about Cloud in particular?
I can answer that for you.
Yep.
So the wasteland around Midgar is actually the birth of this current Cloud.
But that has nothing to do with Hollow. When I think about what the song itself is about, I mean, it's...
Well, I'll just lock it in. Go ahead.
Cloud
Yeah,
feels hollow. This new cloud feels hollow.
yeah, I would argue that from the perspective
Mhm.
of him not knowing who he is, his identity being lost, I think it's 100% relevant.
I
but
will
the
go
lyric-
ahead and quote. Let's see, Nomura.
I have a
Tetsuo
one
Nomura.
sentence. I have a one sentence interpretation I want to. I just thought from the perspective of our journey ended with Hollow,
Mhm.
so it's cool that when you go to the Midgar region, you're not quite there because we're not at Midgar, but you're touching on where our last journey ended. So I just thought it was a cool callback piece of music. I don't know if I looked at it too deep. I just remember thinking that, and I'm like, it reminded me of the journey we went through in Remake. But then you step into the grasslands and the rest of the world, and it's sort of just a musical point to reflect on the journey we went through at Midgar. We're in the
So-
Midgar region, so
I would like to go ahead. I love your points. I love your interpretations. But now I'm gonna drop the quotes. So this is absolutely 100% about, like, Hollow is about Cloud. It was confirmed by both Nomura and Uematsu. So we'll go ahead and go with FF7 Rebirth creative director Tetsuya Nomura says that No Promises to Keep was written early on and wasn't originally intended to be sung by Aerith in-game. However, he says he decided to have the lyrics tailored to Aerith's image in the same way that Hollow were to Cloud. And this is, of course, coming from the Shinra Archaeology Department. Shout out to @Shinra Arc, because let me tell you, I love and respect these people over there. They do awesome work, and they do so many translations of interviews, Ultimania, and I'm pulling so much of this stuff from them. So I just want to show my love there. And it's kind of cool. Today, they posted about us, Final Fan TV. They posted about Final Fan TV,
Nice.
my interview with Justin Kazonis. So that was really cool. Did a little quote there from that interview, and then cited the source, Final Fan TV 2022. I was like, that's kind of cool to see. I like that Final Fan TV was a source. So I like that. Shout out to Archaeology Department, because Shinra Archaeology Department, they do amazing work. Continuing on with a different post from 2023. FF7 Remake's main theme, Hollow, originally titled Empty Cloud, originated from an image that Nomura had. He wanted a song that would reflect what Cloud was feeling at the end of the game as he stood in the wasteland at the edge of Midgar and the rain began to fall. I'm sorry, I can't read. But Excalibur, that you nailed it, bro. You nailed it. This is a different post from 2023. With FF7R's theme Hollow, Nobuo Uematsu wanted to create the feeling of floating in instability. This feeling imparts a sense of Cloud's instability, a feeling of him going, what the hell am I supposed to do now? So, once again, shout out to Shinra Arc. That has been kind of confirmed that Hollow is very closely related to Cloud. And I think being outside, this is the Midgar region where this starts to play in Rebirth. I believe that it is, That's a pretty big it's a nod to that, and of course, just to wrap it all up with producer Katase saying there's a slight melody from the previous Final Fantasy VII Remake theme song, Hollow. It's used somewhere in Rebirth, so it's a little Easter egg for fans to find. So, anyways, there you go. That's all the quotes I have on it.
So what I find curious is that what I find odd is that, to my interpretation, personally, artistically, the lyrics are speaking of Cloud feeling hollow because he is going to fail to save Aerith. And I've always leaned that way because it specifically is the piece that's playing throughout Chapter 8, Budding Bodyguard. So I've associated it very heavily that it's not a question of his identity being quote-unquote hollow as much as his future, like we've seen in Advent Children, etc., is that he will be hollow because even no matter what happens, he's never going to live down that Aerith died. And I feel like the lyrics match that really well. I guess one thing that I find also confusing is that associating that with leaving Midgar, I guess, is confusing to me in that I don't know that that Cloud has particularly strong emotions, in particular in leaving Midgar. I mean, I feel like in OG or in remake, I mean, he's, maybe got the passion. I'm going to kill Sephiroth, or I'm going to find Sephiroth, etc. But I don't associate that as like when I think of the emotional depth of like the lyrics of Hollow, which I think is an A+ song for the record. Again, I really associate that more with how he will feel that that any victory he has, he will have still lost Aerith.
I think just to your point of his lack of strong feelings for Midgar, I would agree with that. I think this is a case too where Hollow is the theme of remake, as it's just a matter of where I agree. It might not what the song's saying in its lyrics. It might not be reflective of like Cloud's feelings of leaving Midgar, but I think it's just a good piece of music to encapsulate the journey thus far. Like that's where we left off. Like when I was saying before, Hollow is the piece of music that acts as the theme of remake. It is the final song that we hear.
Do you think
it's just to me when we go to the Midgar region, you hear it's not the full song. We're not getting lyrics again. It's just it's a nice subtle version of the song, and then we get the cool battle edit.
Cool,
but
like a little tip of the hat to the theme of remake, right?
Yeah. That's how I see it, and I think it's nice when you're in that region. Midgar's just over there. It's like to me, it's a cool nod. I don't think that the actual like what the song brings value as far as like artistically, I don't think that matters as much as more so what the song invokes, like the feeling that you get when listening to it. It's you think of remake, you think, oh yeah, that's where the journey ended. And like here we are now.
I like that, and I wonder if they'll do a different melody of No Promises to Keep when you get close to the returning to the Forgotten Capital again.
Maybe
in part 3. So I would like to bring this on to the swamps. Excalibur, I believe, was this your best rebirth? No, was this your best rebirth?
Yeah, it was. So in the OG, there's not really a lot that happens between Calm and the Mithril Mines.
Yeah.
But for me, one of the coolest moments in the OG was just that there is this swamp visually represented on the map, and if you put a toe in it, here comes the Midgar Zalem, right, to get you. So you had to get a chocobo to make it through, or you had to grind so that you could beat this thing. And I just liked, I don't know, it might just have been nostalgia for me, but taking the chocobo through the swamp, like, I was in heaven that whole time. Like, I just loved it. So traveling through the swamp on chocobo, you could say through to fighting Midgar Zalem, that whole piece just... When I was playing, right, I had this like transcendental moment where I was thinking in my head back to what would kid me think playing this. And my reaction to that was kid me was playing this because I had so much more imagination at play. This is what it was. But now I'm getting to see it actualized. And
it's a shame. Oh, sorry, Wiley, continue. No, dude, it's a shame that the song in this is not on the official soundtrack, at least to my knowledge. And I've listened to that thing a million times. The song in this section is just, if I had to, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm still going with Duel with the Divine. But if I had to, why do we have two?
Don't worry about me.
Okay. Anyway, the point I was. Sorry, that really threw me for a loop.
No, it's okay. I know we're like 3 hours into the conversation. I
just want to say, just the casually disrupting the visual this late is pretty awesome, I gotta say. But anyway, the music during this part, would honestly, if it wasn't for Duel Divine, I actually might pick the music in this part, and I don't even know what it's called. I think this part is super atmospheric. And Wiley, I agree. I feel like what's such a a simple, honestly, it's a hurdle. In the original game, it's just like hey, I need to get past that. Like, hey, Chief, I need a bird. I need to get past that.
Yeah.
Like they fleshed it, and that's what I said at the beginning of this podcast. This game with with this, because you're right, Wiley. Like this part of the story, like what the hell really happens? You leave Midgar, you check out this quiet little town, you get a bird. Well, you go to get a bird, and then they're like, "Oh, go catch one." You go catch a bird, and then you cross the swamp. And it's like, all right, that's it. They really fleshed out the world. They really made something special out of this. And yeah, like I can't even believe that I was amazed by the swamp. Like this super inconsequential little like it's super like all it was just like a flat gray texture in the original game. There really wasn't anything to it. It was just a hurdle. You just had to be faster than the snake. That was pretty much all it was before, and it's something just enticing, atmospheric, really cool. This part I think was just like you said, it really captured like the imagination. It made me feel like a kid again. I didn't even play this game originally as a kid. So, but that's why I love the original game. It made me feel like a kid again while playing. So to get that feeling again, you nailed it, Wiley. That this part really hits that point.
Awesome. Now we get on to the Midgard Swarm battle. Now, how did you guys feel about this battle with the Midgard Swarm?
It was a nice challenge for the end of the first chapter. For me, maybe I just really crappy at video games, which I completely accept as an answer. But I thought it was a nice challenge, and I think games should be a little challenging. I think pretty highly of it. I mean, and again, I'm speaking just of the combat battle itself, not the scene afterward.
Shout out real quick
Yeah.
to this little nod to the original game. When you fight in the original game, the camera angle is kind of behind them, and the Midgard Zalem in front or in the background. Yeah,
That is cool.
that's cool. So yeah, I agree. Definitely a cool little challenging fight. I really enjoyed. It was probably one of my get hype moments was beta being used. I don't know, man. I thought that was cool. Setting the trees on fire, right?
Yep.
I like the mechanic of poisoning the waters, get to dry land. That's cool. I like that I always, in like a good boss battle, has a cool gimmick, right? Has a good gimmick to it. Like, let's get to dry land so you don't get that area of effect of poison there. Of course, you can always equip elemental poison. I tried fighting this thing on hard mode. That's why I mentioned that. I don't think you have elemental at this point. But in hard mode, woo, let me tell you, that was challenging. So this fight is definitely my most recent memory was hard mode. So crazy. So you guys have anything to say about the Midgard Zalem before we get into some like deep story stuff here?
Fun
I
fight.
mean, I think
2-word answer. It cool.
Yeah,
Continue,
it's
Wiley.
cool, man. It's cool.
No, I mean, I would agree with Rob. I think this is the first time there was a difficulty spike, like for me. And I think I died here. I think this was like the first time where I failed, and I was like, okay, like I need to learn my tools a little bit better here.
Yeah.
I have played through this on hard mode. You know, it was harder in chapter 2 on hard mode than the Midgard Zalem was those stupid plant things in that flower quest.
They had a
I don't know if
strategy,
you-
man. They had a strategy.
Oh yeah, that was a gimmick that you had to know to use Eris's flower power thing.
The flower power thing, but also, gosh, I can't remember the weaknesses that it had. What was it? Was it ice or fire? I can't remember. But then
Whatever it was.
you use the all magnify, so you hit all of them as
Yep.
much as So yeah,
See,
there
I
was
didn't
a
even
I
use their
enjoyed that
ability.
fight. So I actually really enjoyed that. So when I got the survey coming in, they're like, I think it was Centurion, saying, "Yo, what did you think of that hard mode flower hill?" And I'm like, "Yo, I actually really liked it. I thought that was really. I love fights that make me think. Like, okay,
Change your strategy.
yeah, there's a strategy that it wants me to do, and I have to figure it out. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I like that fight.
Yeah.
Shoot,
This fight feels-
honestly, it could have gone down as my best battle. Like, I really enjoyed it, dude. I really enjoyed it. But Midgard Zalem has a cool gimmick.
going back to the Zalm for a second, I don't know, maybe I'm just playing a lot of 14, but the gimmick of like using the environment a lot in this fight it feels very 14 centric, and the AoE attacks that it's doing while you also got to do the environment, man. Feels like I'm like playing 14 with cool ass cinematics and my favorite homies.
Yeah. This is the battle system I would like to have in 14. Yeah.
Yeah. I think 14's good at boss fights, but everything else it's like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I can attest to that. But I think that this fight, no complaints. Fun, challenging fight. I actually saw somebody in the comments say that they did, and I think I had the same opinion. They did every piece of like grassland intel, so this fight didn't feel that hard. I think I was a little hardened going into this fight. So I don't remember. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, this guy doesn't die in video game. No. No. I know that wasn't what it was, but
that's not what I meant.
I know. That's what I was saying. Like, this guy's like, me? Really?
Yeah,
really?
bro.
Well, how do you know I never died in any video game ever? But no, anyway. So, like, going at this fight, I didn't think it was like too great, but at the same time, it was very fun. I had to think more, and I guess it's only second hardest to Beck's badasses. They're clearly the hardest fight in the game. No, but I think that this was just. I don't think I have like too many like comments on this thing. I think it was just really cool fight. It did what it needed to. It was more engaging than anything we really did up to this point. And and it's like it's an iconic enemy.
Of course.
Yeah. It's an iconic enemy, funny enough, in an area that I was just kind of dog shitting on in the original. It's just like, what did I call it? A texture with a snake in it? A gray texture with a snake. I think it's cool that we got a really cool build up to this, and it delivered.
And I think music, bro, when that music kicks in after this, come on, beta time. The beta attack, get hyped, because listen to this.
Well, I wish I could.
Yeah, you can't listen to it. Audience can.
Not allowed.
Certainly was.
The drums come in. What? Yo, that. Like, up until that point, it was like, all right, cool. We're doing a throwback to the classic Final Fantasy VII battle music. But then when the beta hits in, you get that do. And I was like, I'm gonna get into that. This is hype. It was a get hype moment for me, y'all, with the beta. Thank you. Hype.
Dan, can we do a camera break on that fire tornado?
You want a camera break? Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, actually, I want to check it out. There's somebody in the comments, Lone Star. Yeah. The fire tornado effect was great. I want to see that. I want to break the camera and go into the. Dan, I'm gonna not to be rude, but I'm gonna ask you to do a lot with the breaks if you continue that series.
I'm good with it. Okay, I thought you were gonna say.
Not to be rude, but like you saw. Not to be
I was
rude,
like, oh damn, he's about to hit me with some truth, because you were like, hey, yo, listen, man, I'm gonna.
No, not to be rude. I just want to make him a bitch.
Listen, man, I'm gonna ask you to stop doing the music stuff, because when you do that, I thought that's where you were gonna go. No, because I just got finished doing like the. I'm gonna ask you to stop doing that. All right,
Daniel, please. We don't want your sound effects. No,
stop.
Actually, I love the sound effects, and I love your music.
I appreciate
but
you.
Dude, that's why I want to know. Mr. Bigglesworth says it's probably a flat texture. I want to know if it's an overlay. I want to know what it is. So
we will. I would love to do that from from chapter 1, and then next week or next time we do it, it'll be chapter 2. Let's camera break. Let's have some fun with it. I actually, during this playthrough, I was breaking the camera, and I found some fun little Easter eggs in Calm that I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, man, I found some cool little Easter eggs in there, so I can bring those to the next camera break.
Is that like a sub series? Oh, jeez,
I don't
this
know.
series never. Listen. If people are for it, I'm for it. Like if you'll have me, of course. I'm not trying to insert myself on your camera break and shenanigans, but
You're welcome. You guys are welcome.
Alright.
The panel is
because
welcome.
that was really fun, and it would be, I don't know if I'd be there for every one, but if it's a cool little sub series that people would be interested, I know I'm interested. So if you're not doing this as a stream, just share screen on Discord to me. And
Gotcha.
Wiley, it seems, is very interested. So, like, whoever wants, I want to see.
If I'm doing it with you, we're gonna be streaming it. I don't like the way that sounded, but like we're gonna get to the next part of this. All right, yo. Here we
Phrasing,
go.
but
I'm a.
all right, moving on. Wow, look at
I
that
gotta work
snake.
on the way I words, man. I gotta work on those words. All right, y'all. Here we go. It's time. We go with this. I thought that was funny when you get that like zoom in of Cloud's face after he gets tail whipped. All right, now this is kind of crazy. All right, we're gonna watch this scene kind of. He goes into one of those bottomless holes that Barrett was mentioning earlier, or somebody was mentioning earlier at the docks.
Right.
Because we are going like this is an ocean. Look how deep into this ocean we are.
At least 3 feet.
It's at least 3. Thank you, thank you, Wiley. Bringing it back. Hey, that's my line. Wait, that's my line. I'm supposed to be the idiot that goes. It's at least 3 feet, right?
Get hype moment
That's
right
fair,
here,
dude.
y'all. This is a get hype moment for me because the way this is framed. Now I will say when I was playing this for the first time, I was confused. I'm like, oh, so this is how they're gonna do it. This is how they're gonna do it. I don't know if I like it. Because I like the more of the mystery from the original game to like.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree. I'm gonna agree.
So
I was kind of
like,
disappointed they
man.
took that
But
from
this
us.
right here,
Yeah.
though, I mean, this is pretty awesome of him just descending down, not even caring that Cloud is literally drowning in the water right now, but just gonna slice him and just shoot him up. That it was like,
Okay, yeah, I know what you're thinking here. Is it like, because to me it's like it's cool, but the mystery of the original is way better.
The mystery.
Yeah.
I think the original does, like, this. I don't hate it. It's not ruining anything for me. I don't care for it as much as the original. I wish they kept the mystery of the original, but this story is in favor of showing Sephiroth more throughout it. So with that, you're gonna see different things. On one hand, it's cool that we're seeing this thing fly at least 3 feet through the air and get impaled, but at the same time, I don't know. I think it's cool when you
So
that moment is just really cool when you just are like, how could? Because in this, we're getting a weird explanation for how something like that was remotely possible, whereas before it felt unfathomable, and that's what made it crazy.
there is so much to talk about here. So go ahead, Doc Lock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree with your point that, I mean, I do think in terms of having an ominous mood,
Yeah.
OG was better here, that less is more. I personally am super confused. What actually happened here. I'm confused who did save us. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to use the term future Sephiroth. Again, I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole of time versus multiverse versus live stream, etc. Just use that term for simplicity. So did future Sephiroth save us? Did he just teleport into the water? Because it didn't look like he directly pulled us up. So did the team pull us up? The team said they did not see Sephiroth.
You're right. They conveniently just leave that alone.
Right. I mean, I would tend to think that, the team probably was staring at the little, puddle that is somehow 20 feet deep. It's kind of funny.
At least 3 feet.
How did... I mean, Cloud got up, so either Sephiroth brought him up or pushed him up, and the team was like, oh, you're here. I personally am very confused on exactly...
It is confusing.
Did no one question, like, oh, how did you get up here, Cloud? Did the team not say, like, did you do that, Cloud? Like, I feel like if they didn't see... I mean, if Cloud came up and it wasn't their doing, shouldn't they be like, oh, Cloud, you're awesome. You did this. You really are Soldier, to make another Mac and Abridged reference. So in short, I'm very confused what actually happened here.
Yeah. Feels like a lot of hand waving, and there's no real clear,
But
explanation.
this is hard to interpret on on a number of levels, because usually we could sort of, even if it's a little convoluted at times or a little like hard to interpret, this just I agree. It is weird to think what the hell happened here. I don't know if we're ever gonna get a concrete. I don't think so. I think we just have to take it at face value, and unfortunately, that's not always fun to do because
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
We all agree that Dan's representation of how he thought this chapter should go down was way better.
Oh, I appreciate
I
that.
prefer
Man.
like the Midgar Solemn video he had.
think
Like, I
about
mean,
that
just
quite a bit.
yeah, and I mean, also, I will say this: this is a failure, at least as an English speaker. This is a failure. No, there was no invocation of the line. Did Sephiroth do this?
Sephiroth
I
do this?
wanted that. I needed that
Yeah.
famous line. Maybe
Sephiroth?
in Japanese they don't have that same sort of like excessive adoration of that line. That maybe that's more of an English community thing that we all excessively love that line. But gosh, I'm sad we didn't have
Adder made
that.
a good comment. And I think I do understand who is that, Josh. I do understand that point. It's a very true point, and I think that's where the original shines, is playing with the mystery of Sephiroth. Because by this point, we've only seen aftermath of his waves of destruction.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I still think that even in this remake and rebirth, like this remake series, there's still room for mystery. I think that we don't need to see everything
So-
happen.
What's really cool about this is that I can see it already in chat, which is kind of cool because I have my interpretations of it, and then when I'm like, oh, okay, so people are seeing this. People are kind of thinking the same wavelength here. I don't know if you thought about this, Doc Lock. Did you ever think that it wasn't? Maybe it was Cloud. So where it was Cloud who did this. So the fact that when it's like, did Sephiroth do this? Nah, man, that was you. But it's so somebody's flipped it and say it's Cloud. I think it was in desperation. Maybe Cloud basically is temporarily possessed by Sephiroth or something like that. That's what Toolman says. And you can keep on going where Major Trenton says maybe the mystery that the party doesn't know Sephiroth necessarily did it, but they think Cloud did it. So there's people that are suggesting it's Cloud, and in my own notes before getting this, which is kind of cool to see everybody doing that, I'm wondering, was Cloud even drowning? Like, was he underwater that long? Did the Midgard swimmer...
Are you questioning the depth of that puddle?
I'm questioning the depth of the puddle, man.
I like to think that Cloud's in legitimately like 3 feet,
It's
not
literally only 3 feet.
No, it's literally only 3 foot puddle, and he's just flailing around. It's just like you're just looking at him. It's like, what the fuck is it? What the fuck is he doing?
What is going
So, in terms of the whole
Sephiroth.
in terms of the whole "did Cloud do it himself" thing,
Did
I
Cloud do
think
this?
that it's not an unreasonable hypothesis.
Right.
I'm not dismissing it, but to me, thematically, it wouldn't make as much sense. Like, I feel like Rebirth very clearly has a directionality of Cloud, and Cloud, for the most part, now, relatively speaking, is fine. He clearly degrades with time, and we're not at the point that he's losing it the way, like in Chapter 9, he loses it and he gets a little Sephiroth-like. So to me, it's too early. Like, there's a clear evolution, degradation of Cloud that to me, it just, I mean, this is not a rigorous argument. I'm not trying to say, oh yes, I know XYZ is true, etc. As much as it's not the right point in Cloud's fall for that to be the case, that he can get super powerful all of a sudden, etc. And I feel like the point is the early chapters is Sephiroth is taunting, Sephiroth is taunting, Sephiroth is taunting, and it gets worse and worse and worse. It seems like it's too soon for that, to me, artistically.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I could play devil's advocate and say that you like I love the idea that Cloud did it. So let's start there. That's a really cool idea because it makes sense. It's like, okay, that explanation, there's no real counterpoint that just gets rid of that. But I think that to your point, the only way this makes sense in terms of storytelling is if it's an Easter egg because it doesn't follow the same path like you're talking about, right? It's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
would only get this on second viewing, like, oh, it had already started here, because there's no real indication that that's what's going on, and it's
Yeah,
pretty
and
clear. It's pretty clear later, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, plus I feel like they do a great job of showing a slow degradation of Cloud, right? Like it really goes through stages of, you've got the point at on the cruise ship where he mutters to himself the whole, I'm no fool, which it does sound bad to the team, like they show in degrees, where it gets worse and worse and worse. So it's a logical explanation in game to some extent. I still feel like it doesn't make that much sense because, like, okay, even if Cloud did it, he emerged from the puddle and the team was just like, they just didn't say anything like, wow, Cloud, that's
Yeah.
awesome. How come you didn't do that to start with? And when we're getting our asses kicked
Yeah.
by Beta?
Right.
That's a point that I'm not
Nobody-
gonna sit here and say it wasn't Cloud, but at the same time, I would kind of not like if it was Cloud because it just begs the question. Unless it's one of those cases where this is power that is just like almost like primal instinct, where like an adrenaline rush, like when a mom can lift a car because her kid's under it type thing,
Right.
Yeah.
where he just primally punches the thing out of the 3-foot puddle. I don't know how I feel about that still, because it just implies something greater than he should be at this point. But it's
Agreed.
also it's one of those things where if that's the answer, I'll live with it. There's more chapters in this game, and I like them all.
Yeah. I think.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
split hairs over this
Yeah.
thing where, like,
Yeah.
chapter 1 had more criticisms that really bothered me
course.
because I had
Yeah.
logical applications to them. Like,
Yes.
we all know we spent about 2 hours talking about the 4 men and their guns, but
Yeah.
like, this is one of those things where the logic is hard to be applied. I mean, there is, of course, logic in the world. Like, we understand how things work. We understand that. But regardless if it was, like, Genova or Sephiroth that flung the fucking Zormer out, or if it was
Yeah.
Cloud uppercutting him out, like, logically, this is going to be hard to explain regardless. And therefore, I just sort of live with it.
Yeah.
But any way you do it, the next scene should have. I mean, I still think it would have been better if you had done something such that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be brief because maybe we've already said this. It would have been way cooler if the team had in some way seen
Something?
Sephiroth,
Right.
Oh.
preferably not future Sephiroth, be like, oh yeah, no big deal. I can do this. Oh, are you little twerps following me? How cute. Like, I mean, not literally in that
Imagine
such
him
sarcastic way, but,
ascending
like,
out of the water with the Zormer
right. Like,
on
I
the
honestly, when I was playing the game, I thought, oh, we're gonna be like fighting a baby Zalem,
That's what I
and
said.
then like we're gonna go into the next scene and be like, oh, and that's the mother, and Sephiroth
Yeah,
did that to the
that would've
mother.
been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the
honestly what I
story
expected
pitched.
from Dead Red.
Like with the baby
Yeah.
Zalems and stuff. Yeah. I will say that to the credit, I guess, is that it did get people talking, which is interesting. It's just what was the point of getting people talking? But
Right.
but I like that it does have this like, oh, wait a second. After I play the game, to Excalibur's point, to where it's like, oh, going back on second playthrough, maybe this is just a little nod, a little Easter egg to anybody who's like, oh, wait, maybe it began here, which is interesting to think about. I don't think it has any kind of major story implications to any, like, it doesn't matter who did it, but it is important to note that the party.
Sorry, are you contradicting the line? Did Sephiroth do this?
I'm contradicting it now because I think the game is contradict. Like, it's funny because the game is asking, it's always asked, did Sephiroth do this? As if it was a question. And now it's like, hey, it is a question. Did Sephiroth do this? And like, so it is kind of funny how they played with that.
You're the one saying it this time.
Now you're saying it,
you're the one saying.
Exactly. So it is kind of funny if that is what they were intending. Yeah, to have that little meta. Like now you're asking the question: did Sephiroth do this? Other than that, it doesn't really matter. But I think it is interesting that nobody saw Sephiroth go in, nobody saw Sephiroth come out, and the only person that went in that 3 foot, maybe a little bit more. Hole was
maybe
Cloud.
3 feet.
Yeah, this guy
at least 3. It was at least 3 feet. We know that much.
And then the Sephiroth, like, so imagine you're Tifa Barrett, Red Aerith. You're watching the Cloud get boom. He goes down into the hole. Boom. The Midgar Swarmer flies out, and you're just like,
what the hell just happened?
And then maybe you go down and you pull you pull Cloud.
Don't say that, Dan. Now we're getting too crazy.
I don't want to keep this conversation going any longer than it needs to, but there was a black robed figure in the swamp also.
Exactly. So maybe that was the puppet he used. Blah blah blah.
I'm not saying that's the answer, but there's a bunch of elements in the equation that we could talk about.
I think a good place to end this point would honestly this is what I call a certified Square Enix moment. Yeah. You just gotta live with it. It happened. You can sit here and interpret it a million different ways. But I will say, I think I figured the Zolom got lifted out with a cyclone, right? Like it kind of swirled. Weather warfare. And this is avalanche. This is avalanche bullshit. Weather warfare. What are you thinking?
Not thinking, but I meant to quote Kingdom Key JT, who wrote in and said, the really interesting part to me, however, is that when the Midgard Swarmer gets launched out of the water, you see a very familiar wind tornado effect that shows up in Cloud's finishing touch.
Why does he have that now, though?
Okay.
Anyways,
was he able to tap into that because of that instinct thing? Maybe.
I mean,
by this point, logically, he shouldn't. Well, he has. But he shouldn't have the ability. So maybe it is what I was talking about. It's the adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Homie was drowning in at least 3 feet, and he had to get the hell out of there. So,
really,
at least,
very, very interesting there. I don't know, man. That's the way we close out this chapter too, right there. Because
it just ends right after that. You walk into the mine, and it's over.
Super convenient that nobody he goes Sephiroth.
All right.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I guess the mines are over there. Yeah. All right, yep, we're going over that way then. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like I will say this, and I think Doc Locke agrees, and I'm on his side on this part, where I'm just kind of like, this is an iconic moment, though. I feel like you guys should have spent a little more time on that.
Yeah.
This was a moment. But I will also agree with you guys too, where it's like, you know what? There was some actual grievances towards chapter 1. Well, this is not too bad. But
This had some disappointment with it, no doubt. They could have done this scene more justice. At the same time, though, I think, and maybe because it's coming off the heels, I'm not trying to shit on chapter 1. I like chapter 1, but let me just be. I am going to shit on that part, though.
That's going to be so detrimental.
Coming off of the heels of something that just comparing, if we're gonna go band for band with the iconic moments, this one didn't insult me nearly as much as the other one did, and so again, I want to coin a new accolade for myself, just certified Square Enix moment. It's just one of those things, man. Kingdom Hearts has it, all their fucking franchises have it, where there's just that thing where it's like you could think on it for hours, or you could just say, it happened. We're taking it at face value and moving on. Oh boy, what?
Dragoon King. Most of the time, those Square Enix moments that you are saying,
they 3/4 of the game.
Great conversations and great.
Wow, it's almost like we're on a podcast.
It's almost like it makes us talk for 5 hours about it. But I will say a big shout out to everybody who tuned in and watched for a very long time. Thank you so much for that. You guys must have been interested in what we were saying, and that means a lot to us. Nice, consistent, concurrent viewers. I do appreciate you guys. And I can appreciate the consistent people in chat as well. Toolman, you underestimate my power. Huh? You think the next chapter is short?
That's gonna be our longest analysis yet.
You think they're not going to go long? They think.
Is that a challenge?
Is that a challenge? Oh my god.
Toolman, we're making it a 4-parter just for you, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Mithril Mines. Get ready. Deeper into darkness we will go. So everybody, thank you so much for watching this. To my panelist, Dr. Lockhart, the lock of the dock. I don't know, the dock lock. Like that.
Lock of the dock? Why is that dock on lock? What?
The dock is on
This has
lock.
become a horrible Dr. Seuss rhyme now.
The dock on lock.
The dock is on lock. It's holding its heart. Anyway.
We'll workshop it.
We'll fix it in post. We edit these, right, Dan? No, just this one.
Actually, we do edit it a little bit. I edited out some. I edited out the intro of the last episode. I want to get right to the point, so you'll probably do that. So for those who watch live, when we go live, you get the special treat because some of that stuff won't make it to the final VOD. That's kind of cool. Good for you.
Oh,
guys.
damn, that's all my best material.
Yeah.
You nerfed me. All right, continue.
And then we have Excalibro. Thank you so much, man.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And everybody watching, don't forget that we do these things weekly, I think. At least we're 2 chapters in and we're doing it weekly. Next week will be a little different, right? 'Cause that's the 25th, I think. Am I correct? Or am I thinking, is it 2 weeks from now?
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. So next week will be Tuesday again. So tune in Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And you will get to watch this. Whatever this is. It's fun. I love it.
Hey, Dan. Did I get it? Wait, did you say goodbye to me? Did you let Chad say goodbye to me? I forget. No. Okay, good.
I have an opinion about this.
You give me a new title, damn it, and then you cut out my exit.
I'm
You?
sorry.
Dragoon Gaga.
Dude, I'm the goddamn Dragoon King. You just disrespected royalty on a live stream.
You've been demoted to prince.
Oh my god! What did you do to me? You dare disrespect the Dragoon King?
Everybody, I would like to
DK is
formally
now DP.
apologize to
You're
Dragoon
gonna have to.
King. Thanks so
all
much for being
good.
here, man.
I was like, oh, maybe he'll say it, maybe he won't, and then I'm glad I did that
Man, that
because
was about straight up in the stream. Thanks so
Everybody
much
was
for being here, Dragoon King. I appreciate you.
no problem, man. It's always a great time. Unless you forget me, then I'm a little salty. No.
I'll introduce you first next week. Everybody, take care now.